A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A store clerk has been murdered, shot to death in a robbery. The hold-up man is described as tall, well-dressed. He escapes in a taxi cab. Your job, get him.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference. In Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Fatimas cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, August 17th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Walker. My name's Friday. It was 8:35 p.m. when we got to the Church of St. Damien, the vestibule.
That must be her playing the organ.
Yeah, I don't see any stairs. Wonder how you get up there to the loft.
Looks like that might be the sexton over there.
Well, let's ask her.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
We're looking for an Ernestine Matthews. Understand she's the organist here at the church.
Well, that's her playing up there now, playing over a few pieces for Sunday.
Could you tell us how to get up to the choir loft, sir?
Surely, through that door over there. Follow the stairway straight up. Can't miss.
Thank you.
Sure has been a long time.
Yeah, what's that?
Climbing stairs to a choir loft. Sang a lot in church when I was a kid. Boy soprano.
All right?
They finally threw me out.
Mm-hmm.
Voice changed.
Yes, did you want something?
Are you Mrs. Ernestine Matthews?
Yes, did you come about the new choir book?
No, ma'am. Police officers.
Oh, can I help you?
It's about your husband, Miss Matthews.
Bert, what about him? Has Bert done something?
He was hurt, ma'am.
Well, I don't understand. Bert's working at the store. What do you mean he was hurt?
There was a holdup.
Dear God, my husband. Was he hurt bad?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is he? I've got to go to him. Is he in pain?
No, ma'am.
What are you trying to say? Dear God, tell me the truth. Which hospital is he in?
They took him to Georgia Street. They helped him all they could.
You're not trying to tell me Bert's dead? You're not trying to tell me that, are you?
I'm sorry, ma'am. In the past 16 days, 7 armed robberies had been committed, apparently by the same man. The suspect was described by victims as tall, heavily built, and very nervous. He was armed. It's cold logic that every suspect who's armed in the commission of a robbery is a potential killer. It's a fact that's been proved 100 times over. The man we were after had proven it again. We'd used every means at our disposal to identify him. Through the stats office, the record bureau, latent fingerprints, through informants and witnesses. We'd gotten out an APB on him containing his description and his method of operation. We'd maintained stakeouts. We hadn't reached him in time. Early that evening, a downtown grocery store had been held up. One of the clerks, 31-year-old Bert Matthews, failed to empty the cash register quickly enough, and the bandit shot him 3 times through the chest. He died almost instantly, and the hold-up man escaped. There was only one witness. Another clerk who had been on duty in the store with Matthews at the time of the holdup. His name was Jess Tallman. He was brought to the city hall where we questioned him further.
Did you see Bert's wife? Does she know?
Yeah, we dropped off at the church on the way in. Drove her to her sister's place.
Still can't get it through my head. One minute I was talking to Bert, next minute he was dead. It's kind of hard to take, you know.
I'd like to go over that description of the holdup man. You were pretty upset out there at the store. Do you feel up to it now?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, now you just take it easy. Tell us everything you remember and take all the time you need.
Well, I know he was a big guy. Over 6 foot anyway, I'm sure of that. He had a good build, too. Wasn't skinny.
How about his face, Jess? You get a good look at it?
Yeah, I did. It was thin, and he kept working it around, you know, twitching like. Guy was plenty nervous.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us anything else about him?
He was young, about 21, I'd say. He had dark color eyes. That's about all I'd swear to, Sergeant. He had a hat on, I know that.
Mm-hmm. How about the rest of his clothing?
I wouldn't be sure about it. Could have been a gray coat, blue coat, I don't know. I wouldn't want to give you a bum steer.
Did you get a look at the gun?
I couldn't miss that. It was a big one. It wasn't shiny. It was kind of dark blue color. I can see the guy now walking in the store and pointing it at Bert.
What time was that again, Jess, when the bandit showed up?
Just about 7:30. Bert was behind the counter. I was in the back stacking the shelves. The guy just walked in, pointed the gun, said, "Give me the dough." I heard him say that.
Mm-hmm.
Bert was kind of surprised. He just stood there for a minute, and the guy said, "Hurry up, give me the dough." And Bert said, "Okay, you can have everything." And he reached to get the dough from the cash register. And that's when the guy did it. He hit Bert right in the chest.
What happened then?
Bert moaned a little and fell down on the floor. I got so mad I started running for the guy, but he swung around at me with a gun and said, "Stay where you are."
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to get killed. I stopped. You can't blame me for that, can you?
Did you follow the man when he left?
Well, you see, he backed out of the store, and when he got to the sidewalk, he jammed the gun in his pocket and ran down the street. I ran out after him, saw him jump in a taxi cab and take off.
Did you get the cab's number?
Well, he was too far away for that, at least halfway down the block. I know somebody else must have been driving it, though.
How do you know that?
The cab was already moving when the hold-up guy jumped in. He got in the front seat.
How do you know it was the front seat and not the back?
The way those cab doors open, you know. Front doors swing out to the left, back ones swing out to the right.
That ties in, Joe. Used the same MO on those hold-ups last week.
Yeah. You got anything else to add, Jess? Anything you think we ought to know?
It's about the size of it, Sergeant. You don't think I'm yellow, do you?
Well, how do you mean?
I mean, because I stopped when he pointed the gun at me. Guess I should have grabbed him, but that gun looked as big as a cannon. Let's face it, I'm not that much of a hero.
Well, I'll put in with you, Jess.
Huh?
Neither am I. Along with a team of men from homicide detail, we continued our investigation of the holdup and killing. Ballistics reported that the slugs taken from the body of Bert Matthews had possibly been fired from a .38 caliber Colt revolver. The slugs were in good condition for identification. All the possible suspects picked from the mug books by the victims had been checked out. All of them had been cleared. Fingerprints left by the bandit at the scene of his latest crime were checked out. No make. We tried to check the taxi cab used in the escape. We got nowhere. The morning after the Matthews killing, we got a call from Sheriff's Homicide. We went across the street and checked with Inspector Bowers.
Either one of you remember that case about 6 months ago, the Harry Solomon killing?
Oh, yeah, Inspector. It's pretty vague right now. Your men handled it, a county case?
Yeah. Let me lay it out for you. It's just possible it might tie in with that killing you fellas had last night.
And what's the angle?
Harry Solomon was a taxi cab driver. The night of February 26th, somebody saw him pick up a fare at Sunset and Highland about 10:30 p.m. That's the last time he was seen alive.
Yeah, I think I remember.
The next morning, we found Solomon's body in a ditch out in the valley. 2 .38 slugs in his head. Found his cab a few yards up the road, abandoned.
Killer used a .38, same kind of gun used on last night's job.
Here's something else that ties in.
Yeah?
A description of the passenger Solomon picked up at Sunset and Highland the night he was murdered. The last fare he ever handled.
Mm-hmm. White male American. Over 6 feet tall, heavy build. Age, 20, 21, dark eyes. Had a dark suit on and a hat.
Matches up all the way down the line.
You had a robbery motive figured on the Solomon killing, didn't you?
That's right. Except for a $5 bill hidden in his wallet, Solomon didn't have a penny of his receipts for the night. Might have been another reason behind the killing besides that.
Yeah?
It's just barely possible Solomon might have known the hold-up man, the guy who killed him.
How do you figure?
Solomon had been a cabbie for 14 years before he was murdered. From this hold-up man's M.O., using cabs for a getaway car, it's possible he might have been a cab driver at some time or other.
You mean if the killer got in the cab and thought Solomon recognized him, was suspicious of him?
That's right. Could have been reason enough for him to kill Solomon. I know there's a lot of coulds and ifs and maybes in it, but I thought you might be interested.
Well, we'll check it out first thing. How are your men coming on the Solomon case?
Progress is pretty slow.
Well, we'll keep you posted on anything new.
Fine. If we can help, let me know.
Right. Bye. Two sets of 38 slugs.
What do you think?
Let's ask the crime lab. We put in a request to Russ Camp and Ballistics to check the 38 slugs found in taxi driver Solomon's body against those found in the body of grocery clerk Bert Matthews. Then we contacted the special agent at the taxi cab company. We asked him for pictures of all their drivers employed by the company during the past year who were 6 feet in height or over. He told us that they'd have a file ready for us the following morning. We drove back to the office and checked in with Russ Camp at the crime lab. He was examining the 38 slugs under the comparison light.
Just a few more minutes, fellas. Have a chair.
Yeah, all right.
Not much luck so far. No. No. Yeah. Well, that's it.
Yeah?
No make. These slugs come from 2 different guns.
That night, 2 more armed robberies were committed. One at a liquor store, the other at a cafe. In both cases, the hold-up man escaped in a taxi cab. The description of the man who robbed the liquor store matched that of the bandit who shot and killed Bert Matthews. The big switch came when we checked the cafe hold-up. There, the victims described the suspect as short and fat with dark blonde hair. He had a deep scar on his chin. During the robbery, this suspect had become so nervous that he dropped his gun, but he'd succeeded in getting outside and escaping in a taxi cab before he could be apprehended. The gun was taken back to latent fingerprints and checked. It was clean. Russ Camp checked it through ballistics.
Some days are like this, fellas.
What do you mean?
That cab driver Solomon was shot with a 38.
Yeah?
Bert Matthews was shot with a 38. A different one, though.
Mm-hmm.
This gun the bandit dropped tonight, it's a 38, too.
Yeah, we know that. What are you getting at?
Doesn't match either case.
The next morning, we started working one of the few leads we had left. We drove down to the taxi cab company and collected the pictures of all the drivers that they employed during the past year who were 6 feet in height or over. There were 87 of them. We started checking them out. It's what the working detective calls legwork. It's slow and it's tedious, and you're not sure it's going to amount to anything even by the time you finish. 2 nights later, the taxi cab bandit hit again. His first repeater. A restaurant on South Figueroa. He'd robbed the same place less than 3 weeks before. Ben and I interviewed the manager, a Mr. Cavallo.
Telling you, Sergeant, I can't take any more of it. Twice in 1 month.
Yes, sir. Could we talk back there in one of the booths?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
You got a good look at the man, did you, Mr. Cavallo?
2 feet from him. Memorized his face from the first time. It's no joke, you know. So I have no time for the customers. I'm too busy opening the cash box for that thief. Here, sit down.
Thanks.
Well, and you're positive it's the same man who robbed you before. There's no question there, huh?
None, I'm positive.
And he used the same M.O., too.
Yeah, sure. M.O.? What's that?
Oh, excuse me. I mean, he used the same approach, the same method of operation.
Everything was the same. The man, the gun, the taxi cab, everything.
You didn't get the number of the cab, huh?
I looked for it. I didn't see any. Must cover it up some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got some pictures here, Mr. Cavallo. I'd like to have you look at them. Just tell us if you recognize any of them.
Well, I won't do any good. I already did that. They showed me pictures the last time.
This is a different lot, sir.
Oh, all right. Quite a few of them, huh?
I'd like to have you check each one of them carefully, if you would. Just take your time.
Yeah, we can't sit here without coffee. Natalie!
Well, I wouldn't...
Natalie!
I don't care for anything.
Yeah, don't be silly. You can't work without eating. Natalie!
Yeah.
Coffee, 3 cups.
Okay.
And now, where do I start?
Well, these right here, if you'd just check these over, please.
Uh-huh. No, not him. Not him either.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. not that one. No. Is that all?
No, I have some more here.
Oh. Hey, that's an ugly-looking guy, huh? Look at that scar.
They look familiar?
No.
Better check with the skipper when we're finished here.
Yeah, it's been a couple hours, Andrew.
That lousy no-good thief.
Sir?
Right here, this one. That's the guy.
You sure?
I opened my cash box twice for him. I'd know his face in a million.
Morris Copley. Age 21. Description matches. Let's go, Ben.
Thanks, Mr. Coelho.
It's only 40 minutes since the robbery. He's probably not even home yet. What can you do?
We'll wait up. 10:30 p.m. We parked down the street from 527 Dayton Avenue, a two-story white stucco apartment house. We checked the names on the mailboxes. Morris Copley's wasn't on any of them. We rang for the manager.
Copley? Morris Copley, no. He doesn't live here. Never heard of him.
I wonder if you'd take a look at this, ma'am.
This picture, ma'am. You ever seen this man before?
Well, let me get over here in the light. Let me see now. No, he doesn't live here.
And you've never seen him before?
No, I didn't say that. I just said he doesn't live here.
And you have seen him before?
I believe I might have, yes. Matter of fact, I'm sure of it. He's a friend of Mr. Tobin's, apartment 5. Comes to visit Mr. Tobin every now and then.
Is this Mr. Tobin in now, ma'am? We'd like to talk to him.
No, I'm afraid not. He works nights, never comes home before 2 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a cab driver.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled into the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
10:45 p.m. In the presence of the manager, we made a search of the apartment registered in the name of Ralph Tobin, the man who was supposed to be a friend of the suspect, Morris Copley. We found nothing that would tie either of them up with the robberies and the killings. Before the manager returned to her apartment, we instructed her to say nothing about our being there in case Tobin or Copley returned. We called the office and told them we'd received an identification on Morris Copley. They checked them both through R&I. Neither had any criminal record. They got out an APB on Copley. We waited. Midnight came. Nothing happened. 1 a.m. 1:30. Still no sign of either man. 1:45.
Somebody's coming around back, Joe.
Yeah. Kitchen door.
Maury, you back already?
Hold it right there, mister. Police officers.
Oh, Fanning.
Who are you? Is this a stick-up?
Police officers.
Explain, Joe.
Well, what's it all about? What do you want?
You Ralph Tobin?
That's right. This is my apartment.
You know a Morris Copley?
Copley? Yeah, I know him. You're looking for him? He's not here.
We know that. Where is he?
Wish I knew. I'm looking for him, too. He owes me money.
Copley's a pretty steady visitor here, is that right?
He was till I lent him that $65. Haven't seen him since. He took off.
When was that?
When? About 2 weeks ago. Yeah, just about. Look, you mind if I sit down? I'm a little nervous.
Go ahead.
Kind of upsets you, you know. Why are you looking for Maury?
I'd like to have you repeat what you said when you came in that door.
What I said? I asked who you were, didn't I?
No, I mean before that.
Say, I don't think I know what you're getting at, officer.
You said, Maury, you back already? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I guess I did. I guess I thought Maury came back to pay me the $65 he borrowed.
You didn't make it sound like that, Tobin. I got the idea you were expecting.
Expecting him? No, I haven't seen Maury in 2 weeks, maybe 3. He took me for $65.
All right, that's enough small talk, mister. Now, Copley's in deep. You're going to match him if we don't get a straight story.
Some cans of beer in the refrigerator. Let's have one around.
Skip the beer. Where's Copley?
I'll swear on the Bible if you want me to. I don't know. Look, if Maury pulled anything heavy, I'm not in on it.
Ben, you want to check with the manager? Ask her when's the last time she saw Copley here.
Yeah, right.
Now, wait a minute, officers. I want to cooperate. If Maury's in deep, that's his fault, not mine. That's right, isn't it?
That's right. Now, where is he?
I don't know. That's the truth. I'll tell you something else. I wasn't squaring. I saw Maury early tonight, 6 o'clock. Came here and borrowed another $5 from me.
But you don't know where he is now?
No. Said sure like a can of beer if you don't mind.
All right, sit still. I'll get it for you.
You sure you won't have one?
No, not me.
No, thanks. I don't want him.
There you go.
Good cold beer. I like it when I get nervous. It always calms me down.
Say, Tobin.
Yeah, officer?
You haven't taken your hat off.
Oh, I was nervous. I guess I forgot. There.
Your hair always been dark blonde?
Since I was a kid, yeah. Why?
How about that scar on your chin? It's a pretty deep one.
Beer's sure good.
I asked you about the scar.
It's kind of embarrassing. I got a little high one night. I fell off a merry-go-round. Big night.
Now I've heard everything.
We had a robbery report a couple of nights ago, Tobin. Hold-up man was just about your height and weight.
Yeah?
Dark blonde hair. Had a scar on his chin, too.
I'm afraid you got a wrong slant, officer. I worked my cab every night of the week. It wasn't me.
Mind if we have a look at your car outside?
How'd you know I had a car?
We didn't. Let's give it a look, shall we?
Why do you want to look at it?
You have anything to hide, have you?
Of course not. I'm not like Maury. He's always in trouble, always on the lam. You probably think it's funny when you check the glove compartment in my car.
Will we?
Yeah, you will.
Why's that?
Keep a gun in there. You know how many cab drivers get shot. A guy can't be too careful.
What kind of gun do you have, Tobin?
Revolver. Regular revolver.
What caliber?
.38. Why?
2:30 a.m. We searched his car, picked up his .38 caliber revolver, and then we drove Ralph Tobin back to the office where he was detained for questioning. We had a stakeout placed on his apartment. Russ Camp and ballistics checked Tobin's gun against the slugs which had taken the lives of Harry Solomon and Bert Matthews. It was found beyond the question of a doubt that his gun had been used in the Solomon killing. We confronted Tobin with the evidence. He started talking. He told us that Copley was responsible for the murder of both Solomon and Matthews, that Copley had borrowed his gun for the Solomon job. In all the robberies except one, he described himself only as the accomplice. He drove the getaway taxi cab. The only occasion he tried to handle the actual holdup was at the cafe, where he became so nervous that he had dropped his gun. Before he was booked on suspicion of murder, Tobin told us that Morris Copley still had 2 .38 revolvers in his possession. He insisted he had no idea where Copley was. Ben handled the questioning while a stenographer took Tobin's statement. I contacted Inspector Bowers and informed him of our progress. 11 a.m. I got back to the squad room. All right, did you check back through that personnel record we got from the cab company?
Yeah, I got half an idea, I think.
Yeah?
See here on Copley's application for the job?
Well, sure, we checked out all those references. They don't go anywhere.
No, I mean this right here. Married, yes. Children, 1 daughter. Age 4 months.
Hmm.
Well, this application's dated May 6th. That means his baby was born in February.
Yeah, sure. Copley was working here then, so it's 10 to 1 the baby was born in the local hospital.
That's what I mean. If we find the right hospital or the doctor, they could lead us to him.
There's the phone book. Let's go. From noon until 4 p.m., we called every hospital, sanitarium, clinic, and rest home listed in the book. The answers were the same. No record of confinement for a Mrs. Morris Copley.
Well, seemed like a good idea. Who are you calling now?
Well, we've got one more, the county hospital. Well, this is Sergeant Friday, Police Department, Robbery Detail. Yes. I'd like to find out if you have any record of confinement for a Mrs. Morris Copley. No, that's Copley. C is in Charlie. Yes, thank you.
He might have sent his wife out of town to have a baby.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. 1118. Thank you. 1118 Rochester, Copley's aunt.
Let's go.
4:30 p.m., together with Olson and Thaxter from Homicide Detail, we drove out to 1118 Rochester Avenue in the Crenshaw district. The house was vacant. From a neighbor, we learned that Copley's aunt had moved 2 weeks before. We got her address from one of her friends in the neighborhood and finally located her at work in a beauty shop on Melrose Avenue. We posed as traffic investigators. The aunt told us she thought we could find her nephew Morris at home, an address on East 13th Street. 6 p.m. We located the house and parked the cars a half a block away. As we approached the house on foot, we saw a light burning in one of the windows on the left side of the house. Thaxter and Olson covered the back. At a given signal, they entered the back door. Ben and I went through the front.
It's empty.
Yeah. Thaxter!
Nothing back here, Joe. Empty.
That's great.
Looks like somebody passed him a tip-off just in time. Look at the mess this place is in.
We got out in a hurry, all right.
Hey, what's going on here? What do you men think you're doing?
Police officers, your name?
Silvera, one of the neighbors. You looking for the Copleys?
When'd they leave?
20 minutes ago, I guess, in an awful hurry. What's the trouble?
You know where they were going?
Well, no, but you might try Mr. Copley's aunt. She lives over in Rochester.
They're not there.
Well, have you tried his sister's house?
6:45 p.m. The neighbor, Silvera, directed us to the home of Morris Copley's sister, a small frame cottage on the edge of Beverly Hills. The lights were on in the living room, but the shades were drawn. Thaxter and Olson made their way quietly around to the back. Ben and I went up the front steps and rang the bell.
Yes? What do you want?
You Miss Copley?
Yes? What is it?
Police officers, ma'am. We're sorry.
Oh, he isn't here. Maury isn't here.
We know he's here.
Living room's empty. Must be in the back, Joe.
You can't. He's in the bedroom with the baby. He's got a gun. You can't go in there.
Where's the bedroom?
It's the end of the hall at that door. He was sleeping. I think he's awake now.
The baby close to him?
He's in the same bed. She's propped up on pillows right next to him. He's got that gun with him. Don't go in, please.
Where's the bed situated in the room?
It's right inside the door to the left. Oh, please don't go in. He won't care what happens to the baby.
Ben, I'll open the door. You hit the light switch and cover me. Watch the baby.
You better stay here, Miss Copley. Your baby won't get hurt.
Let's go. All right, let's go in.
Drop it, you.
Grab the gun, Ben.
All right, come on.
I got it, Joe. All right, Copley, get him up. Come on up. Joe?
Yeah, I got it.
Just a little frightened, ma'am. She's all right.
I'll kill you, Mary. You tell them where to find us, didn't you? I'll kill you for that.
Maury, I swear I didn't. I swear.
Lousy dame. Nobody else knows she's the one who told you, didn't she?
No.
Then who did? Who told you?
You're looking at her.
What do you mean?
Your baby.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 16th, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective knows that there is one mark of identification that never changes, a man's fingerprints. The suspect may change his appearance in many ways, but his fingerprints always remain the same, a mark of identity that cannot be changed. When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality, a mark of identity which never changes. And Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality. Smoke Fatima.
Morris John Copley and Ralph Edward Tobin were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree, 2 counts. They were both sentenced to be executed in the lethal gas chamber of the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Coming up, We the People. Tomorrow, enjoy The Life of Riley on NBC.
In Colorado Springs, Colorado, a group of men are gathered together for their annual conference. For their day-in, day-out service to the public, Dragnet honors the 57th Annual Conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. A man posing as a doctor is burglarizing homes in your city. You have his description. Your job, find him.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Fatimas cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented story of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, November 22nd. It was chilly in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Fraggy. It was 9:35 a.m. when we got to 5918 Canyon Cove, the home of Marla Hutchins.
Yes,
Miss Marla Hutchins?
I'm Miss Marla Hutchins.
We're police officers, ma'am. This is Sergeant Romero. I'm Sergeant Friday, Central Burglary.
Come in.
Thank you.
Betty told me she called you.
Your maid?
Yes, I'm Betty Drake. I called you.
And if you could tell us what happened, please.
Dr. Arthur Schulte was treating me for headaches I have. He took my mink coats and my jewelry.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a list of what's missing?
Betty will have a list of what's missing.
Here, I've written down everything I think's gone.
Thank you.
Well, why do you say it was this Dr. Schulte? Is that right?
Yes.
Why do you say it was him that took the things, Miss Hutchins?
He did it. I know he did it.
The doctor was the only other person in the apartment, officer.
When was this?
Last night.
What time was the doctor here last night?
It's about 8. I heard him leave later, about 9:15.
Is that right, Miss Hutchins?
Yes, that's right.
Well, could the apartment have been entered without either one of you knowing it?
No, sir. The back entrance is double latched, and no one could have broken in the front way. My room's right beside the front door, and I would have heard.
You told us on the phone that this Dr. Schulte was middle-aged, dark, close to 5'11", stocky, wears a goatee.
Yes.
No other distinguishing features. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How about his clothes, the way he was dressed?
He was about average. He had on a gray suit the last time we saw him.
Thank you.
You know who he is?
We'll find out.
What kind of treatment were you taking from Dr. Schulte, Miss Hutchins?
We called it hypnotherapy for my headaches.
Mm-hmm. Last night, the same thing?
Yes.
Or anything different from his previous visits?
I was very nervous. He made me take 3 sleeping capsules, and I went to sleep.
And she was still sleeping this morning when I went in and found everything in the dressing table all over the floor.
I see. Have you known this Dr. Schulte long, Miss Hutchins?
About 4 months.
Did you meet him at a party, maybe?
No, I was a student of his.
Where was this?
At a small college in Hollywood. He was the head of the school. He was a teacher, too.
Do you have the name and address of the college?
Betty can give it to you. It's in my desk.
Are you still a student there?
No. I don't take the course. I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
College was closed. That's when he came here to treat me for my headaches.
How did he start giving you these treatments, Miss Hutchins?
One day in his lecture, I fainted. Took me to his office and told me that pain was only a state of mind. State of mind.
Yes, ma'am.
My headache didn't bother me anymore. He said that relief would only be temporary if I didn't take regular treatment.
Well, did you see him regularly?
I saw him twice a week. Twice a week.
Always here?
At the college, then it closed. I don't know why. He telephoned and said he would continue here.
Well, where did you get in touch with him when the college closed?
Never did. He always called here.
Do you have any idea where he is now?
No, I just know that he's a thief.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you lie down, Miss Hutchins? You look tired.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Hutchins.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right. Would you gentlemen like some coffee?
Oh, Ben?
I could sure use some.
Well, it'd be very nice, miss. Thank you.
Officer,
Yes, ma'am.
if this man's just a common thief, the treatments he's been giving Miss Hutchins couldn't have been very good, could they?
She's still got the headaches, hasn't she? 11:50 a.m. We checked the apartment for physical evidence. There was nothing to indicate that the place had been broken into. We put in a call to latent fingerprints to send a man out to check the closet and dresser. We completed the crime report, and Betty Gregg, the maid, gave us the name and address of Dr. Schulte's college, the Los Angeles College of Psychotherapeutics and Psychiatry at a Franklin Street number in Hollywood. Ben and I got out a teletype to Sacramento asking information on the chartering of the school that Dr. Schulte was supposed to have headed. We checked on Betty Gregg, the maid, and found that she was a Los Angeles girl, parents still living in the city. She had a good reputation. 2:35 p.m., we went to the address where the college had been. It was a big brown clapboard house with several dormer windows facing the street. It was vacant. The front door was boarded up. A rental agency sign was stuck up on one of the pillars on the front porch.
Joe. What room there? Must have been where they had classes. Rows of chairs nailed down, you see?
Let me look. Yeah. I don't see any papers inside. No mail.
Hi.
Yeah.
My name's Tom Thompson. You interested in the place?
You're the agent?
No, I just live next door. I'm a dry cleaner myself, but I sort of promised the real estate agent I'd keep an eye peeled, see if I could be of help and get on shop with it.
Police officers. We're just checking.
Oh, was there something wrong? Somebody break in?
Did you live next door when this was a school here?
Yeah, that psychology bunch here about, 10 months, maybe less. I always thought it was kind of a shoestring operation.
How do you mean?
Oh, you know, not much dough. They're just making ends meet, no class, you know.
Always just adults?
Well, classes used to be mostly during the day I was at work. The wife used to tell me, no kids at cheer or so.
Did you know the man that ran the school?
No, but he was a middle-aged guy with a kind of a pointed beard. Had a pal, though, a younger guy. Never stopped to talk. They're pretty tight-mouthed guys, like I said. Why, what'd they do?
Routine investigation, Mr. Thompson.
Do you have any idea where they might be contacted now?
No. The real estate agent said they skipped without paying last month's rent for him. He's been trying to find them.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember their names?
Well, let's see. Wait a minute. The older guy, the guy with the beard, was named Schultz or something like that. I can't remember the young fellow, though, but... Hey, wait a minute. I got their door.
How's that?
I got their door. The agent let me have the front door. I'm building a patio porch in the back of my house, and the glass that I took out of the door's got the names lettered on it.
Well, that's fine.
Come on. I'll see if I still got it in the garage. It's right around here.
Okay.
A little chilly today, huh?
Yeah, well...
Want to stand back there and hit you an open?
Watch the door, Ben.
Yeah. Here we go. I like to keep a nice, neat garage.
Sure looks nice.
Oh, thanks.
Say, did these men live in the house, Mr. Thompson, or did they just use it for the school, do you know?
Well, best I know, just for classes. Like I say, they're pretty tight-lipped guys. Not very friendly. They're real quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here it is. I got it.
Just leave it right there. We'll come over there. You won't have to move it. See. Los Angeles College of Psychotherapeutics and Psychiatry. Dr. Arthur William Schulte.
Schulte.
DAA, PhD, SCD.
Well, close to sure.
Dr. Leo George Donaldson. DV, PhD, SCD.
Mm-hmm. I got it, Joe.
Okay, fine. We're much obliged, Mr. Thompson. Here's our card. If you hear anything regarding these men, we'd appreciate you calling us.
Oh, sure. I'll be glad to. Wait a minute. Here. Here's my card. Ideal Cleaners over in Ivar. If you get around that way, why, drop some stuff off. I'll see it gets special attention.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Thompson.
No, it's okay. I'm sure glad I didn't throw that glass away. Brother, look at all the letters after the names, eh? Wonder what it takes to get a lineup of degrees like that.
Paintbrush in about 10 minutes. 5 p.m. Ben and I drove back to the office. There was a report from latent fingerprints. Nothing but the prints of the two girls had been found in the Hutchins apartment. We checked what information we had on Schulte and Donaldson through to the FBI on the teletype. A check of doctors registered with the Los Angeles County Medical Association and the American Psychiatric Association failed to turn up anybody named Dr. Schulte. We had our I Bureau and Stats Office make runs on Leo Donaldson and Schulte and a rundown on the reports where the burglar had posed as a psychologist. The stats office turned up a couple of dozen new suspects. We pulled the mug shots and headed for the Hutchins apartment.
Looks like something doing at the Hutchins apartment house.
A lot of cruiser cars, huh?
Let's have a look.
Sorry, can't go in.
Sergeant Friday Romero, Central Burglary.
Oh, sure, Sergeant.
What's the trouble?
Girl named Hutchins shot herself.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference. There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality. Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Monday, November 23rd. During the morning, the coroner's office signed off Marla Hutchins' case. The verdict was that she had taken her own life. The police psychiatrist told us that probably the hypnotic treatments by Schulte had hastened her death. The information we'd received from the Medical Association told us that they had had complaints against the operation of the Schulte School. They had pointed out to us that it takes over 12 years in recognized medical schools to become a member of the American Psychiatric Association. Schulte had been mass-producing pseudo-psychiatrists in 8 weeks. 1:40 p.m., we met with Captain Fulton.
Schools are phony. Degrees and diplomas sold to anybody who had cash. Huh?
Yeah.
They're not operating anymore?
We checked that out. They're gone.
Well, here's the answer to your teletype to Sacramento.
Thank you.
Gives details on the application for the school to Schulte. He's listed as founder and dean. Donaldson is listed as staff. No addresses other than the Franklin Street number there.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
A month ago, Leo Donaldson opened courses of instruction in Los Angeles under the title California Physicians College of Psychiatry, 781 South Hill Street.
Schulte associated with him?
No. Have any idea where Schulte is?
No, we don't, but we're looking. We've got the support of the medical people to push a bunco charge for the operation of the old school.
Donaldson should be able to give you a lead on Schulte.
Figures they might be in contact. Looks like they actually ran the school together, even though Schulte was legally responsible.
And Ben and I have an idea on how maybe we can find out.
How's that?
We thought one of us could make a pitch to Donaldson, see if he'd sell a degree from the new school. Get evidence to support a bunco warrant and check at the same time to see if Donaldson has contact with Schulte.
Well, I'll let the bunco detail know we're trying. You think you can do it?
I can try.
You know anything else about Donaldson's courses?
No, that doesn't bother me.
How come?
Neither does Donaldson. In trying to get Schulte through his former associate, Leo Donaldson, we again contacted the Medical Association. They furnished us with the name of Ralph Morse, a graduate of the Franklin Street School, who had since been killed in an auto accident. Tuesday, 11:30 a.m., Ben and I got to 781 South Hill Street, a 7-story office building in the heart of the Los Angeles business district. The directory in the lobby listed the California Physicians College of Psychiatry for rooms 214 and 216. Ben waited outside in the car. I took the elevator up. Dr. Donaldson?
I'm Dr. Leo Donaldson. May I be of assistance?
Well, my name is Frank Ditton. I wanted to ask about the curriculum here.
Well, we've just opened, Mr. Ditton. We're not quite ready to start classes. You understand this is very advanced instruction. Most of our students will have had considerable background in psychiatry.
Oh. Well, a friend of mine, Dr. Morse, said that he was sure I'd be a good student for you.
Dr. Morse?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I place him.
Well, he was one of your students at the Franklin Street School. Said that Dr. Schulte knew him quite well.
Oh, yes, I remember. Brilliant man. How's he getting along?
He was killed in a car collision.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, frankly, what I was interested in is being able to take over his practice. Could I get the same deal he got?
I think so, Mr. Ditton. What'd you have in mind?
Well, take some courses and get a degree. I worked with Morse for a while. I can set up a clinic. He did okay. I figure maybe I can, too.
Well, here's a list of the courses we'll offer.
Thank you.
We'll go over it together, and you can indicate what sphere of study you'd like to undertake.
Mm-hmm. Does Dr. Schulte teach any of these courses?
No, he doesn't. Now, the first semester will include painless and drugless childbirth, practical and applied psychology, autosuggestion, prenatal suggestion.
Yeah. Well, look, Dr. Donaldson, straight practical and applied psychology is the specialty that I want.
See?
Now, what degree do I get and how much will it cost?
Well, the least expensive is a doctor of psychotherapy at $450. A doctorate of philosophy and psychology is $500.
Mm-hmm.
For all purposes, if you can afford it, Mr. Ditton, is a doctorate of science. That's $800.
Oh.
That course was $1,000 at the Franklin Street School.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's a lot of money. I guess I have to have it, though. I wonder if you'd take a check now.
Certainly. You understand what a tremendous advantage these degrees are to the professional man who, for one reason or another, may never have had a chance to get a college diploma.
Mm-hmm. Well, the course is very hard.
You look like an intelligent man, Mr. Ditton. I'm sure you'd have no difficulty.
All right. Well, say, look, Doctor, I live out in Van Nuys now, and I'm working 3 days a week at the present time. It's going to be pretty tough to get downtown here. Do I have to be here every day?
Since it's the diplomas most of our students are interested in, we have, on occasion, made exceptions in cases like yours.
Well, I'd appreciate that.
We could possibly, in the case of a doctorate of science, present you with your diploma in advance of you taking the course, and you could launch into private practice at once and take the course whenever it suited you.
Well, couldn't ask for a better deal.
Everything's mentioned in this catalog, and the forms are in the back. Why don't you sit down right there?
Oh, thank you very much. And rules and regulations. No books are required of students. Well, that's a break, huh?
We lecture a little differently from some colleges, and therefore we've dispensed with texts because we feel they tend to confuse the data.
Mm-hmm. When I take the course, who will be my instructor?
I will.
Well, Morse talked a lot about Dr. Schulte. Did he teach any of the classes?
No, Dr. Schulte was associated with me in the operation of the Franklin Street School, but is not the staff member of the California Physicians College of Psychiatry.
Well, I'm just wondering, if I paid extra, could I get some classes with him? Morse said that he picked up a lot of useful information from Schulte. He's a fellow with a goatee, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. Well, truthfully, I have no idea where Dr. Schulte is presently located.
I understand. Now, that's one regulation here.
Yes.
No student will be admitted who cannot show documentary proof of the successful completion of secondary school work.
High school. You can understand that, can't you, Mr. Ditton?
How do you mean?
Well, there are certain minimum academic standards we must observe.
Yeah.
In order to maintain the quality of our degree.
Dr. Donaldson accepted my check to the amount of $800. I asked for a receipt, and he filled out a blank doctorate of science degree, which he carefully lettered with the name Frank Ditton, and signed himself as dean. I arrested Donaldson, and Ben and I took him in for booking. 1 p.m. We received a long teletype from Washington. Arthur Schulte had a record of arrests and convictions back east. It started with a conviction 16 years ago for the interstate transportation of pornographic motion pictures. The record gave us no known addresses, but important in the information was the fact that Schulte had originally been trained and had worked at being a projectionist in movie theaters. In the M.O. was the notation that he'd been known to take up his old occupation when sought by authorities. 1:35 p.m., we contacted the local office of the Motion Picture Projectionists Union, where they told us that they had placed an Arthur Schulte in the booth of one of the Main Street newsreel houses on Sunday. That was the day before. 2:30 p.m. The Crescent Theater was buried between two bars and advertised an hour of newsreels and short subjects for 20 cents.
Where's the manager?
I'm him. Can we talk to you a minute, police officers?
What?
I say we're police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Nobody here to take over. Why don't you come in and I can open the booth door here and talk?
Okay. Right around the back, I guess, here, Ben. Where is he? Hey, mister.
Okay. What's the trouble, officer?
Do you have a man by the name of Schulte working here?
That's right. Projectionist isn't working right this minute, though. Comes on duty at 4.
An hour. All right. I wonder if you'd take a look at this description, please. There you are.
5'11". Man working here is clean shaven, no goatee. Outside that sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
Any idea where he lives?
No, I don't.
Well, we'll have to wait for him here.
All right. Wait a minute.
Just one?
Where you want to wait? Inside?
Well, I think we'd rather stay up in the projection booth if it's all right.
Up the steel stairs there on the right. Tell Pete Eichen. He's the man up there now. I said it was okay.
All right, don't say anything to him when he gets here, will you, sir?
I won't, officer.
Come on, Ben. Yes, this way. It's a long climb, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's right up there.
Oh, yeah. Must be it. Hey, mister! Mister!
Yeah?
Police officers.
Anything wrong?
We're going to have to wait here. The manager said it was okay.
Wait for what?
We want to talk to your relief man.
You mean the doc?
You know him?
Well, just since yesterday.
Why do you call him the doc?
Oh, you know, speaks kind of fancy for a projectionist. What do you do?
Oh, we just like to talk to him.
Okay, you know the guy doesn't come on for about an hour.
Yeah, they told us.
You want to look at the picture? You can both sit by the observation port on the film station there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Sit over here, Ben. Is this all right here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Huh. Well,
What's the matter?
I've seen this newsreel.
5:45 p.m. Schulte was nearly 2 hours late. Ben and I were worrying about whether somehow he'd been tipped.
Usual for a man to be this late for a shift? Not in a house like this. Bigger house would be different.
Way it is with a doc being late like this just cost the boss a couple of bucks.
How do you mean?
I got more dough. I'm over my maximum hours. If the old guy'd stay away long enough, I'd be on Golden.
Golden? What's that?
Yeah, double and a half time. Boys in the business call it Golden time.
Oh.
Most dough you can get is double Golden. You get that working over maximum number of hours after midnight on a Sunday.
Uh-huh.
That's double Golden. Never happened to me, though.
How do you stand it?
What do you mean, the money?
The noise.
You get used to it. Don't pay any attention after a while.
Don't you get tired of hearing the same soundtrack over and over?
No, you just know it's there. It never registers. What they're saying, I mean. Just if it stops when it shouldn't.
Get used to it over the years. You've been doing this long?
11.
It's a long time.
Excuse me. I gotta make a switch over.
What'd you say?
I said I gotta make a switch over.
I've been watching you do that all afternoon. How do you know when to turn the other projector on?
Marks on the film, up in the right corner on the screen, usually a black dot. Look through the window.
Look, Ben, right here.
Mm-hmm.
The first dot tells me to start the other projector. When the second dot hits, I cut this one, turn on the other one. Now watch.
Okay.
See the first one?
Uh-huh.
Now the second dot, see?
Uh-huh.
Smooth. You never know the difference.
Simple stuff. People never seem to notice the switches. Just a minute. Hi, Doc. A little late. Sorry, overslept.
Your name's Schulte?
That's right. Police officers would like to talk to you.
I have to go to work. It'll wait.
You want to go downstairs?
All right.
This way. All right, this will be fine right here. You say your name is Schulte, Arthur William Schulte?
That's correct. Ever been known by any other name? Why?
Do you operate a school called the Los Angeles College of Psychotherapeutics and Psychiatry during the past year?
I'm not saying anything. Where are you living, mister? I'm not saying anything.
Let me see your identification.
Here, my wallet.
All right.
No, you hold it. Say, open that part there. I take out the card. Union card. We'll take its stubs. Social Security card.
That second thing there behind the cash. Yeah. Let's try that folded piece of paper there.
It's just a bill.
Mm-hmm. What is it, Jim?
It's a bill. Milliken Hotel. Let's go. We drove to the Milliken Hotel, about 6 blocks from the theater in the same Skid Row district. We got the key from the room clerk and went up to Schulte's room. It looked like any dingy hotel room. A small footlocker sat at the end of the bed on the baggage stand. 2 suitcases were over by the closet, and sitting on the floor alongside the bureau were 2 waist-high stacks of books.
You got the key to the small trunk?
I don't have to submit to this.
Let's open it up.
Open it yourself. Here's the key.
All right. Two mink coats.
I'll check the rest of the room, Joe.
All right. This your property, Doctor?
I'm not saying anything.
Just clothes, regular stuff in the bureau.
How about those suitcases over there? What do you got?
How about this?
It's a cigar box. It's taped shut. What's inside, Doctor?
Nothing you'd be interested in.
I'll open it, Joe.
Schulte? Bracelets, rings, matched earrings. Fit our stolen property reports.
These were gifts.
People say you took them.
They're sick. I've done them a lot of good. They know. They thank me this way.
Yeah.
People I get these things from, they know I've helped them.
Well, you helped Marla Hutchins.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Arthur Schulte, free on bail pending trial, died of natural causes on June 15th in Fresno, California. Leo Donaldson was tried and convicted of grand theft and served a term prescribed by law in the state penitentiary.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. When the rookie policeman becomes a full-fledged member of the department, one of the first things he becomes aware of is the time-worn tradition of the peace officer. He has pride in the men he works with, pride in his job. The men who make Fatima take great pride in their job. They, too, uphold a tradition. The Fatima tradition of quality. You see, Fatima contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And pack after pack, they're extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, and have not yet enjoyed Fatima, buy a pack tomorrow. Compare Fatima with other long cigarettes. You'll find they cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Smoke Fatima.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief of Police of the City of Los Angeles, W.H. Parker.
The Los Angeles Police Department awards this citation of merit to Dragnet for its authentic portrayal of cases from the files of this department, bringing great credit to the Los Angeles Police Department and its officers, and enhancing the prestige of law enforcement generally among its millions of listeners.
Thank you, Chief Parker.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Next, We the People. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. An accomplished check forger resumes operations in your city. The suspect's described as a middle-aged woman. She's written more than $20,000 in bad checks. Your job, get her.
In a moment, an authentic case from official files.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Fatimas cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Elliott. My name's Friday. I was on the way back into work, and it was 7:53 a.m. when I got to room 29. Forgery detail.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, how'd the weekend go?
Oh, pretty slow. Stayed home, did some gardening.
How about that new lawn you put in? How's it doing?
If we want a lawn, we're going to have to move.
What's the matter now?
Same old thing.
Gophers?
Must be hundreds of them. So many holes the top of the lawn looks like an old punch board.
Oh, that's too bad. Can't you try some kind of poison on them? Or how about those new things they got out? What do they call them? Gopher bombs?
I use them with a dozen. They eat anything.
Joe? Ben?
Yeah, Ferguson.
Morning, Captain Steve.
Okay. What's up, Fergie?
You ain't gonna like it. Skipper will brief you.
Morning, Skipper.
Hi. Have a seat.
Yeah, thanks.
You two finished up with the Benson case yesterday, is that right? Yeah, it's all washed up. We're clear. Good. Then you can start on this one right away. You'll work with Frank Besser and Ferguson here. What is it? Grandma.
I had a hunch, Joe.
What have we done to deserve this? It's nothing any of us have done. It's what we haven't done. I want her stopped once and for all. Are we any closer to her than we have been, Fergie?
Just about same, Joe.
That's why I'm putting 2 more of you on it. How well do you know the case? Well, just what we've heard around the office.
Same here. I could stand some briefing.
Ferguson?
Well, you must have heard how she operates. 3 months out of the year, April, October, and December, that's all.
She's never been known to change that schedule?
Not as far as I know. She's been doing it the same for 9 years.
All the phony checks she cashes are personal checks.
That's right. She never writes them less than $2 and never more than 100.
9 years. She been going that long?
9.5. It'll be an even 10 this October. You want to check them out on the totals, Ferguson?
Up to and including the first of this month, she's cashed 1,273 checks. The total's a little over $22,000.
Anything special about the way she writes the checks? Nothing but the signatures. There's an alias list on her that'll knock your eye out, more than 200 different names.
Her description's still the same, about 50 years old, kind of plump, nice face.
A few minor changes. Last year she had gray hair, dressed very plain. This year she dyed her hair black, dresses a little more expensively.
9 years. That's a long streak of luck for any paper hanger.
That's just it. This old gal's not just an ordinary paper hanger. She's no amateur, don't get me wrong, but she doesn't operate like any check forger I've ever known. She contradicts part of her M.O., part of it she doesn't. She takes chances an ordinary paper hanger would never take, and she gets away with them. Take a look at just one of these exhibits. Yeah? This one here. 28 checks passed on the same chain of grocery stores, same company.
She passed them all in 1 month?
No, that's just the point. 2 years ago, she passed 14 of them, spread them out over a period of a month. Last year, she passed another batch of 14, all within 3 days. 1 year, she used a different name on each check. On this batch, she used the same name. Well, does she have any identification when she passes these checks?
Always. Phony driver's license, Social Security cards, it works. And she's got that sweet grandmother smile of hers. Clerks rarely turn her down when she shows up with a check.
You can get used to different descriptions of her, too. Give the file a look. Hardly 3 of the check victims can get together on what she looks like exactly. Well, where are they getting stung most? Downtown or out in the neighborhoods? The neighborhoods. Anywhere from the beach area to the valley.
This whole file, Skipper, that's not just her work, is it?
Every last bit of it. We can't fit it in a 6-foot shelf. In 9 years, I've had 5 teams of men work this thing. None of them reached her. You and Friday make the 6th. It's April 17th. How's she doing so far this month, Fergie?
Cashed $624 in checks we know of since the first of the month. Same general description, same general M.O.
No fresh leads?
She's been operating 9 years, Joe.
Yeah.
Just as good as ever.
To the working detective, there's no tougher job than tracking a lawbreaker who's half professional and half amateur. You can expect a criminal who's entirely professional to react generally the same in a given set of circumstances. And the same with the amateur. But take the two, the professional and the amateur, and intermingle their possible and probable reactions. You'll likely have a sound reason why and how an elderly woman could victimize merchants with $20,000 in bad checks over a period of 9 years without being caught. Grandma, as she'd come to be known, worked only 3 months out of each year, April, October, and December. Her apparent fine sense of timing and her knowledge of psychology was far and away superior to that of the ordinary paper hanger. If the file on Grandma was any indication, she apparently had been born to be a successful check forger. After Ben and I spent 3 days on the case with Sergeants Ferguson and Besser, we were almost convinced that there was only one way we could reach the suspect. She had to make a mistake.
Fergie, how'd you do?
Pretty sour. 4 checks in 2 days. What'd you fellas get?
2. Don Meyer checked the signatures. They're all hers.
Mm-hmm. Here's our list if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Meat market out in Pico, $25. Grocery in West Hollywood, $48. 2 department stores downtown, $100 apiece.
How do they describe the woman?
Same old yarn. She was a nice, charming little lady, about 55 or 60, small, dark hair, graying, dark eyes, nice smile. Clerk told me she reminded him of his mother.
Yeah.
How'd you make out on those 2 of yours?
All about the same. Even the story about her looking like somebody's mother.
One thing's sure, her timing's just as good as it was 9 years ago.
Downtown Merchants Association's screaming again. They're looking for action.
So are we.
You talked to Captain today?
Yeah, he's looking for action, too. I don't know what we can do unless we get some kind of cooperation from the merchants. Every time the old gal pushes a bum check, it's 3 or 4 days before it gets to the bank and we hear about it. The trail's pretty cold by then.
Yeah, Joe and I were talking just before you came in, Fergie. We can't expect too much to happen the way we're going.
Any ideas?
More men and more stakeouts. The captain says he'll buy that. That's about all we can do.
Another 10 days and April will be over. Graham, I'll be through pushing checks till October again.
I don't know, Joe. Her formula's too perfect for me. There's got to be a flaw in it someplace.
Yeah. You got out a bulletin of that revised description of her for you?
Yeah, it's all taken care of. Special notices were mailed out to merchants, too.
Again?
Yeah.
Forgery, Romero? Yes, sir. Was that? That's so. Yeah, right away, thank you. Supermarket on Temple Street. Grandma. Hit him with 2 checks.
Any lead?
Clerk says she reminded him of his mother.
A week passed. The number of stakeouts on business places throughout the city was doubled. The M.O. and description of the suspect was circulated among the merchants in the downtown and suburban shopping centers. Clerks were especially warned to be on the lookout for. The precautions went for nothing. Grandma's checks kept showing up at the rate of 2 and 3 a day. On April 27th, she passed a check for $50 at the Delicatessen on Hollywood Boulevard. We drove out to interview the owner, Mr. Hammerston.
Do you have one of those circulars we sent out on this woman?
Well, I'm ashamed to say it, Sergeant, but I have, hanging right back there in the storeroom. The thing of it is, I never connected the two, the woman and the notice. It's the way she looks at you, you know, like you'd be a heel to even question her.
Mm-hmm. How was she dressed the last time she was in? Do you remember that?
Well, she had kind of a plain black coat on. Would you excuse me a minute? I don't like to keep customers waiting.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yes.
How are you, Mrs. Lyons?
Need some cold meat for kids' lunches. What do you got nice and fresh?
You see right there in the case. Head cheese is very fresh. Good for the kiddies. Pimento loaf's nice, too.
Oh, kids don't like either one. Fussy. You better give me 35 cents for that small bologna, would you?
Yes, ma'am.
Kids are so fussy nowadays. Ought to be in Europe. That's what I tell them. I know what it is to go hungry. Oh, you better give me a couple of those large kosher pickles, too. Husband's crazy for them.
Yes, ma'am.
And a loaf of the rye, too, would you know, see?
Yes, ma'am. How are the kiddies doing in school, Mrs. Lyons?
Oh, it's fine. Marilyn's in the school pageant next month. She's going to be the queen.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, I don't know how nice it is. More work, that's all. I have to make her costume.
There you are, Mrs. Lyons. Put it on the bill?
Yeah, would you do that? I'll see you the 15th of the month.
Yes, ma'am. Goodbye.
Uh-huh. Goodbye.
Sorry to keep you waiting, officer.
Not at all.
Let's see now. Where was I?
Well, we asked you how the woman was dressed.
Oh, yeah. Had a black coat on. I told you that.
Yes, sir.
Very plain-looking clothes, like any other housewife. Print dress, some kind of a scarf around the neck. That's about all I noticed.
How about that description of her in the bulletin we sent you? That fit her pretty well?
Yeah, I guess so. She didn't exactly seem plump to me, though. Kind of a nice figure for a woman of her age.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if any of your customers were acquainted with her?
I wouldn't know that. She acted as though she knew some of them, but now that this has happened, I can see she was just putting on. She was a great disappointment to me.
Yes, she is to a lot of people.
I used to josh with her all the time. I'm a widower, you know. Thought once or twice I might even date her up.
That's so?
Yeah, she seemed like a real good sport, joshing all the time, fine personality, just as homey as you please.
Well, that fits in with the other descriptions.
Are you ever going to catch somebody like that?
2 days later, on April 30th, right on schedule, the flow of bogus checks in Grandma's handwriting suddenly stopped. If she continued to work by the same timetable she'd been using for the last 9 years, she wouldn't start operations again until the 1st of October. During the next 5 months that followed, from May to the end of September, Besser, Ferguson, Ben, and I handled the usual run of check cases. At the same time, we used up every spare hour we had making preparations for the suspect's next appearance. Every businessman throughout the city who might be a possible victim was alerted. A revised description of the suspect, together with her M.O., was printed up and given wide distribution. Every possible precaution was taken. October came. Grandma started on the 10th year of her forgery career without a hitch. On October 1st, she cashed a check for $75 at a large downtown women's shop. As soon as we got the report, we went to the department where the check had been received. A fashion show was in progress.
She's wearing a deep black velvet dinner suit, the newest shade for evening wear. You will notice the pencil slip skirt and the doll with 3/4 sleeves.
Excuse me. Are you Mr. Montrose?
Yes? What is it?
Police officer, sir. Forgery detail.
Oh, yes, that check. I wonder if you could hold on for just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Miss Janice Morgan next. She wears a gown of striking originality with rich but simple lines. A black dinner dress, a satin skirt with handmade thorns, a sculptured silk and latex sweater top with an oval neckline punctuated with ball fringe.
Hey, Joe. What kind of outfit is that the model's wearing?
I don't know.
How much to it?
All right, officers. Would you like to step this way, please?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is my office here. Well, I don't know what I can do for you, gentlemen. The check was passed. Very unfortunate occurrence.
You okayed the check for cashing, is that correct?
Yes, the sales girl handled the transaction. She showed me the check. I knew the signature, so I okayed it.
Mary Walker?
Yes, that's how this check was signed.
What kind of identification did the woman have?
Her charge account plate. You know, the small metal card, charger plates we call them. I recognized that in the signature immediately.
You know this Mary Walker pretty well?
She's one of our best customers.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Friday, October 4th, 2 p.m. Before we left the store, we found that another worthless check bearing the signature Mary Walker had been cashed in a different department of the store the same day. The woman had used the same means of identification, a metal charge account plate stamped with the name Mary Walker. We took the 2 checks back to the office and had Don Meyer in handwriting compare the signatures. There wasn't any doubt in his mind. The writing on both checks was Grandma's. Well, it was only a hunch, but it was beginning to look as though the suspect had finally done what we'd been waiting 9 years for her to do. She'd made a mistake. Ben and I drove out to an address in the Wilshire district to interview Mrs. Mary Walker. She fit the same general description of the suspect, but she denied writing either one of the checks which bore her signature.
It's out of the question, Sergeant. I couldn't have written the checks. I haven't even been in the city for the past 5 days.
Then the signatures on these 2 checks here, Mrs. Walker, they're not yours.
It looks like my handwriting, but it's not. I didn't write those checks. They're forgeries.
Yes, ma'am. You do have a charge account at the store, don't you, ma'am?
Oh, yes. I've had an account there for years. Nothing like this has ever happened, though.
Do you have one of those charge account plates?
Well, yes, I did have one.
You lent it to someone in your family?
No, as a matter of fact, I lost it. I meant to report it to the store, but it slipped my mind.
Do you have any idea where and when you might have lost it?
Well, I think it was last Sunday night. I'm not sure. Oh, well, just a minute. I know who would remember. Inez Lambert, she was there. I'm sure she'll remember.
Who's she, ma'am?
A girlfriend of mine. She lives in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Inez. Mary Walker, Inez. Oh, just fine. And you? Oh, good. Say, Inez, which night was it we went to the Boosters Club meeting? Sunday? Yes, I thought that it was. Oh, nothing. Just some silly misunderstanding. Yeah, well, all right, Inez. Thanks for remembering for me. Yes, goodbye. It was Sunday night, Sergeant. Inez Lambert and I went to the neighborhood Boosters Club meeting. I'm sure that's where I must have lost it.
Well, you think the charge account plate fell out of your purse, is that it?
Well, either that or it was taken.
Why do you say that, ma'am?
Well, it's a serious thing. I didn't want to mention it.
What's that?
I left my purse on the chair next to me a part of the evening. When I got home, I thought I was missing a $5 bill from my change purse. I didn't notice at the time my charger plate was gone.
Do you remember who was at that meeting, Miss Walker?
Oh, 40 or 50 people at least.
How many women would you say?
Dozen or so, I suppose. I'm not accusing anybody of robbery, Sergeant. I know it's a serious charge to make.
Do you know if one of the club officers might have taken a list of those present?
Oh, they didn't have to. We do the same thing at every meeting.
What's that, ma'am?
We all sign the attendance book when we leave.
3 p.m. Ben and I contacted the secretary of the Neighborhood Boosters Club. He gave us a list of those present at the Sunday night meeting of the club. As Mary Walker had told us, each person present had signed his or her name and address in the attendance book. We took the record downtown with us and had Don Meyer compare each signature on the list with samples of Grandma's handwriting.
Number 32 on the list, fellas. That's it.
Positive, Mick?
No doubt in my mind. That's Grandma's handwriting.
How'd she sign it?
Mrs. Inez Lambert.
We went down the hall to R&I and had him check the name Inez Lambert through the files. She had no criminal record. Together with Besser and Ferguson, Ben and I spent the next day and a half trailing Inez Lambert wherever she went. She fitted the description of the suspect perfectly. We questioned her friends and her neighbors. We dug back into every corner of her life for the past 10 years. The results were pretty amazing. We found that she was highly respected by everybody she knew. She was active in a dozen civic and church organizations. Her reputation was spotless. There was only one hitch. Mrs. Lambert's hobby was charities. By checking back, we found that during the past 10 years, she donated an average of $3,000 annually to various charitable organizations. Her husband's total annual income was $7,000. From her bank, we obtained specimens of Inez Lambert's handwriting. It matched almost perfectly with every signature in the grandma file. Monday, October 7th, Ben and I called on Mrs. Lambert.
Oh, yes, officers. Won't you come in? Mary Walker was telling me about you. Come in, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Mary told me about the things missing from her purse at the meeting. Is that what you're inquiring about?
Yes, ma'am. We've got a few other questions to ask you besides that.
Well, you sort of caught me at a bad time. Just getting ready to put some baking in the oven for dinner tonight. Would you mind very much if we talked back in the kitchen? I've got to get this done.
No, not at all, ma'am.
It's back this way. Oh, there goes my cream sauce again, boiled over. Just take a chair there, officers. I'll be right with you.
Thanks.
This cream sauce is so temperamental, can't take your eye off it for a minute. There. Shouldn't boil over now. Would either of you officers care for a cup of cocoa? Chilly out today.
Well, no, thank you, ma'am. We only have a few questions for you. It won't take long.
Yes? All right. Would you mind holding this bowl just a minute, Sergeant?
Oh, yeah.
I just have to get this in the oven for dinner. My husband's favorite dessert. It's called pinch pie. It's kind of a meringue tart.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Take 2 eggs, I guess. There we are. Get these egg whites beaten up nice and light. That cup of sugar on the sink, Sergeant. Would you be so kind?
Yeah, all right. Here's your sugar, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, what is it you wanted to know?
Mrs. Walker had her charge account plate stolen that night at the Boosters Club meeting. Somebody's been using it to cash bad checks in her name.
Is that so? Mary didn't tell me that.
The same person who's using that charger plate has been cashing bad checks all over the city. He's been doing it for some time.
Oh, my. Well, I don't think I can help you, Sergeant. I went to that meeting with Mary. She says somebody must have been in her purse, but I didn't see them.
Do you have that charge account plate, Mrs. Lambert?
Oh, no, I have my own. Now, let me see. Teaspoon vanilla, teaspoon vinegar, teaspoon water, combined in a small pitcher or cup.
We've got good reason to believe you have that charge account plate, ma'am. Did you take it from Mrs. Walker?
That's a silly thing for you to say, Sergeant. I told you I have my own charge plate. I never borrow anyone else's, no reason to. Add a few drops of combined liquid. Beat constantly.
Did you cash 2 checks last week and sign them with Mrs. Walker's name?
Why, of course not. Why should I do such a thing? Mary Walker's one of my best friends. I wouldn't do that to her, even as a joke.
Well, our handwriting man compared the signatures on those 2 checks, Mrs. Lambert. Both of them match your handwriting.
When all the ingredients have been added, continue to beat the meringue for several minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that you said, Sergeant?
I said that the signatures on those 2 forged checks, our handwriting man compared them with specimens of your signature. They both match.
Well, then your handwriting man certainly made a mistake. Oh, there's a large white platter up in that cupboard there. Would you reach it for me, please?
All right. There you are, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you deny that you wrote those 2 forged checks last week. You deny that you've written and cashed about 1,500 worthless checks in the last 9 years.
Well, of course I deny it. You're sure you haven't made a mistake?
We're sure, ma'am. I'm sorry. You'll have to come downtown with us for questioning.
Oh, what's that? Oh, my. It's the cream sauce again. Sergeant, I can't leave the house now, right in the middle of getting dinner ready. My husband would be furious. If you want to talk, couldn't we do it later on?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Afraid not.
But you certainly can't accuse me of doing anything wrong. The folks at the church will vouch for me.
We've got just as many people who say you've cheated them. People who cashed those checks for you.
Quite a few of them, ma'am. 9 years' worth.
But that's silly, 9 years cashing checks. I'm sure you must mean somebody else, Sergeant. I've got to get this platter greased. Let's see. Heat meringue upon lightly greased platter. Here.
Look, we have a record downtown on every single check that you passed since you started, ma'am. We've got specimens of your handwriting and people to identify you. We know what your income is. We know how much that you've given to charities.
Money's got to come from someplace. Is that what the checks were for?
Excuse me, I've got to get this meringue in the oven. Let me see. 275 degrees. Yeah. I hope I put in enough vanilla.
You want to tell us about it?
I never thought about anyone finding out. I guess I should have expected it, shouldn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
It was all for charity. There were so many of them. Orphanages, Old People's Home, Christmas Poor Fund, and then the overseas relief charities. They all need money. Somebody has to take care of them.
Your husband knew nothing about this for 10 years?
Nothing at all. They were my charities. I had to have money for them. I took money from people who had it and gave it to those who didn't. What do you think, Sergeant? Was I wrong? Do you think the good Lord will say I was wrong?
I wouldn't know, ma'am.
I only wanted to help the poor like he did. I came to help the poor.
Well, there's a big difference, ma'am.
Yes?
He didn't use a checkbook.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The efficiency of any local police department depends on the quality of its personnel. Each and every man is carefully selected and thoroughly trained. In uniform or plain clothes, your police officer knows his job. And so with a cigarette. The men who make Fatima cigarettes know their job. They carefully select and blend the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild, different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, I'm sure you'll like Fatima best. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Inez Lorraine Lambert entered a plea of guilty to 2 counts of forgery, and the remaining charges were set off calendar. She was sentenced by the court for the term prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is Robert Young. Hear We the People next on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A gang of veteran dope peddlers moves into your city. They offer $100,000 worth of heroin for sale. They make their contacts. They're ready to do business. Your job, stop them.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack of Fatimas.
You'll find they now cost the same.
Light a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 24th. It was sultry in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 a.m. when I got to the Charing Cross Apartments on 12th Street. The side entrance. Hi. Anything doing?
Nothing.
How's the bug working?
Better. One of the fellows from the crime lab came out and faced it last night, went next door and replaced the microphone. I'm getting real sour on this detail, Joe.
Well, here, let me take over for a while, huh?
Yeah, you bet you. Here. My ears feel like a couple of baked cauliflowers. 2 solid weeks holed up in this place with a pair of earphones on.
Yeah.
What do we got to show for it? That woman next door hasn't even mentioned narcotics in 2 weeks. All she does is eat, sleep, and play solitaire. Goes out for groceries once in a while.
Hold it. Somebody ringing the buzzer next door.
First visitor in a week.
Yeah. Just a minute.
Yes?
Your name is Maywater.
That's right. What is it?
I talked to a friend of yours, George. Said it might be a good idea if I let you
What do you want to see me about?
Well, it's business, Miss Washburn. Could we talk inside?
All right, come on in.
Let me plug in these earphones, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to introduce myself, Miss Washburn. My name's Howard Scully. You and George were former associates, I understand.
We worked together a little. What can I do for you?
Well, George and I are old friends. We were in business in Hong Kong before the war. He's a nice fellow, George.
No, I have a date downtown in half an hour. I don't have much time to talk.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were in such a hurry. I'll get right to the point.
Yeah.
My business partners and I just came up from Mexicali a few days ago, and we have some merchandise that's ready for the market, and it's good quality.
That's what I hear.
I contacted George, thinking he might introduce me to some prospective buyers. Said he didn't want to handle any merchandise at this time.
Why not?
Oh, it's something about the police. They seem to be watching him. He just didn't want to take any part in any business venture. Just wanted to get it.
And George gave you a bum steer sending you to me. I can't help it.
Well, you haven't heard my proposition.
I don't have to hear it. Count me out. I don't fool around with junk, any of it. It's a tough rap out here.
Well, if you'll just listen to my proposition, Miss
No.
Washburn. Please, I'm not asking you to be involved. I have a perfectly safe and legitimate transaction in mind. You'll be well paid for your time and effort with no risk whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. All you big connections make it sound good.
George tells me you're acquainted with the right kind of people. People with money. That's the kind of people that my partners and I want to meet. Now, all I'm asking you to do is introduce me to a few such persons for our mutual benefit, and then you just leave the rest to me.
That's still too much. If I gave you an office to a buyer and you were caught, they'd get me for conspiracy.
No, there's not
I've
gonna
seen too much of it, Scully. It's no sale.
Well, you'll just have to believe me, Miss Washburn. No one's going to be caught. Now, we work in an entirely different manner. The police haven't any idea of our method of operation. We've tested it in 6 big cities in the Orient. And not once did it fail us, and I tell you, it's not going to fail us here.
It's your story.
Well, it's perfect.
I'm not chancing a rap to prove you're wrong.
Well,
Here, do you want a cigarette?
yes, thank you. No, that's right.
Okay. Thanks.
Now, I'm only asking one thing, Miss Washburn. An introduction to the right party, and that's all. Now, you know my reputation. I'll make it well worth your while. If the connection is right, you can live on your take for the rest of the year.
I don't have many friends. Just a few whom I guaranteed for my payoff.
Well, I can deposit the money with George. He'll hold it until the deal is made. You can be real rich, Miss Washburn. Come on, what do you say?
An introduction. That's all.
That's all we'll need. Our product speaks for itself.
I know a fellow out in Hollywood. His name's McMillan. I can call him and tell him to meet you.
That'll be fine, how so?
I'm not going to introduce you.
No, that won't
I'll
be...
set up a meet for you, that's all.
All right, that's all we ask. Do you have this, Mr. McMillan?
McMillan.
You have him meet me tonight?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Now, tonight at 11:30, I'll be at the corner of 7th and Alameda. Now, remember this now.
Yeah, all right.
Corner of 7th and Alameda at 11:30 exactly. I'll have on a gray coat, and I'll be carrying a book. Now, McMillan shouldn't have any trouble recognizing me. You just tell him to walk right up to me, put out his hand, and say, "My name's McMillan," that's all. I'll know if he's the right party. My name's McMillan. That's all he has to do.
All right, I've got it. I'll pass it on.
Fine. Well, I'll make arrangements with George as soon as possible to take care of your fee. Thank you very much, Miss Washburn.
Not at all. Just don't be too sure of yourself. The fuzz in this town could smell a by 3 miles away.
You'll take care of the police, Miss Washburn. The system should teach him a few lessons. Well, goodbye, Miss Washburn. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Don't come here after this. Call me on the phone.
Certainly. Goodbye.
Joe, wait a minute. She's going for the phone. Come on.
Just a minute.
Try the door. It's locked.
What do you want?
Police officers.
All right, what's the pitch?
I'd like to talk to you downtown.
About what?
Howard Scully.
What about him?
We know why he was here. Get your coat, please.
I haven't done anything.
Come on, lady, let's go.
I told Scully I didn't want in. He made the proposition, but I didn't buy it. You know that. I didn't buy a word of it.
We did. Before the suspect was taken downtown, we informed her landlady to tell anyone that she'd be out of town for a week. That information was to be passed on to any of her friends or business acquaintances who might try to contact her. After that, we took May Washburn back to the office. After being questioned thoroughly, she was detained for further investigation. At 2 p.m., Ben and I met with Captain Kearney, Central Narcotics, and Inspector Virgil Beckner, State Narcotics Bureau, Southern Division.
$100,000 buy, is that what they have in mind?
That's the word around town, Skipper. Washburn girl told us the same thing.
The Washburn woman was approached for an office, huh?
Yes, that's right, Beck. She was ready to go when we picked her up. Pusher's Howard Scully, you remember him?
About 9 years ago, wasn't it, the Tijuana deal?
8 or 9 years, yeah. That big heroin buy, they tagged every one of the gang but Scully.
Yeah, he's no amateur. He's got every narcotic law in the book memorized. He sets the deals, takes the gravy, but he never gets tagged.
How about the federal narcotics men, Romero? They've been briefed on this deal?
I called Harry Stone over there this morning. They've been following it, too. Said he'd be over this afternoon.
The setup with this McMillan guy. What do you think, Captain?
Clear sailing there, Beck, as far as I can see. Scully set up to meet with May Washburn. Ben and Joe grabbed her before she could contact McMillan. Unless Scully's got a Ouija board, he still must figure everything's Jake.
Then we could have a man meet with Scully tonight and pass himself off as McMillan.
Well, shouldn't be too much trouble. From the way he talks, Scully's never seen McMillan. Has no idea what he looks like. It's just a guess.
Neither one of you are known to Scully, are you?
I never met him or his friends.
Mm-hmm. I worked that case last February when we grabbed Ray Murdoch. He used to be a mule for Scully. That's as close as I've been.
Well, I'm afraid that's too close. You know how many hype friends Murdoch has in this town. If any of them spot you and pass the word to Scully, the whole deal's choked off. Joe?
Hmm?
You think you could pass yourself off as McMillan for a couple of days?
I'd like to give it a try. Beck, what do you think?
Good with me. We can help with the tailing. Only one possible hitch I can see.
Yeah?
We're not positive this guy McMillan's a total stranger to Scully.
It sure sounded like it, didn't it, Joe? The way Scully and the Washburn girl were talking.
It's possible Scully might have seen a picture of McMillan. Maybe knows something about his background, his habits, how he does business.
Well, it's possible, yeah.
Suppose Scully starts asking you questions, Joe. How are you going to cover it?
Well, we could talk to the Washburn girl again. She might brief us.
Now, if we need the guy's life history, let's pick it up firsthand.
How do you mean?
Get McMillan.
Late that afternoon, Stanley McMillan was located at a small restaurant out in the valley and quietly placed under arrest. He was booked at one of the outlying stations on suspicion of violating the State Narcotics Act. We questioned him and got all the necessary information on his background that we needed. He told us that he had never seen or had any dealings before with Howard Scully. 7:30 p.m. I went home, changed my clothes, put away my gun, ID card, and the rest of my identification. An hour later, I checked in at a small hotel near 5th and Main Streets. 11:15 p.m., I left the hotel and started for 7th and Alameda Streets, where the scheduled meet with Howard Scully was to take place. As in most cases, there was one all-important rule that I had to work by. If the suspects were to be arrested and successfully prosecuted, we had to get them with narcotics in their possession or under their control. And one of the first things that the working detective learns is that dealers such as Scully rarely do the actual handling of narcotics except at the actual moment of sale. If the officer fails to make an arrest at that moment, the odds are stacked heavily against the conviction of the narcotics criminal. 11:30 p.m., I got to the corner of 7th and Alameda Streets. I walked up to a man standing by a lamppost. He was short, heavily built, dark hair, dark eyes, and a small scar on his chin. He had on a gray coat and carried a book under one arm. I put out my hand.
Yes?
My name's McMillan.
Oh, glad to know you, Mr. McMillan. My name's Scully.
Why?
Understand we have mutual friends, is that correct?
That's what I'm told, yeah.
You're from Louisiana originally, New Orleans.
No.
Oh, that's so? Thought you were from Louisiana.
Missouri, St. Louis.
Oh, I see. I suppose we go for a drive, huh?
My hotel's down on 5th. We could talk there.
Oh, I think my car would be better.
I can't afford to waste time. I got customers waiting.
Oh, you can believe me, this won't be a waste of time. I'm prepared to do business.
All right, let's go.
Fine. No, go ahead, McMillan.
All right, thanks.
Now, will you raise that handle on the other side so I can get in?
Yeah, sure.
Fine. Thank you. You can't be too careful in L.A., I hear.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of heat.
Oh? I hope none of it's on you.
Don't worry, I'm clean.
No tumbles.
Would I be here if there were? I got customers to protect. Good customers.
Fine. You know, maybe we can do business. How much can you handle?
How much you got?
How about 10,000 worth? Standard rate, full measure. Hardly cut at all.
Sounds fair. We drove 3 more blocks, and then Scully pulled the car to a stop underneath a row of spreading palm trees on a deserted street. He pulled the emergency brake on, then he turned to me, clamped my arms to my sides, and shook me down. What's the pitch here? What's the idea?
No offense, McMillan. Simple precaution in case you had a gun.
What do you take me for, mister? I'm not used to doing business this way. That might go real great in the East, but it's nothing out here.
I said no offense. This is a hot town. You could be a fuzz. You can't be too careful. You know that.
Yeah, well, you don't have to pull that careful stuff with me. Who set up this meet, anyway?
May Washburn.
All right. If you can't trust her, you can't trust me. Or maybe I'm not in the mood for business.
No, come on. Take it easy, Mac. We'll work this right, and we both got a good deal.
Well, let's get to the point. Where's the stuff?
You bring the money, we'll bring the merchandise.
Wait a minute. The car that pulled up behind us. Let's get out of here.
Oh, you're nervous, Mac. Relax. That's my partner. Come on, I'll introduce you.
All right.
Hi, Jim. Jim, this is McMillan. Mac, this is my partner, Jim Rhodes.
Right.
Yeah. Do we do business, Howard?
Yeah, he's all right, Jim. He's ready to score.
How much do you want?
Whole bundle. We can start with 10 G's worth.
Can you handle that, McMillan?
I'd say so if I couldn't. I don't give it away.
You get the money, you get the stuff.
When?
10 G's worth tonight, rest next week.
Well, midnight now. What do you expect me to do? Bring the money with me?
Howard will pick you up at 3 a.m., same corner.
Sure.
Well, that doesn't give me much time, does it?
It's enough time if you're really looking. If you're just shopping, well, forget about it right now.
A lot of my customers live out of town.
That's interesting.
10 grand is no geezer. Suppose I can't get all the money together.
Then don't show up. All or nothing.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture, Smooth, plump cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatima's cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
June 25th, Thursday, 12:30 a.m. I had 2.5 hours to raise $10,000. The narcotics dealers, Howard Scully and his partner, Jim Rhodes, had laid it out for me. Either I had the money by 3 a.m. or there was no deal. If it failed to come off, our plan to trap the narcotics gang would be worth nothing. Rhodes and Scully could possibly find another buyer without our knowledge, make a deal, and flood the market with their store of narcotics. I knew it'd be impossible to get the $10,000 together. We had only one alternative. Fake our way as best we could. I went back to the hotel, put a call through to Captain Kearney at the office, and told him what had happened. He went to work on it. From the Narcotic Details Emergency Fund, set up for such purposes, we got together $600. From Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, Deputy Chief White, the State Narcotics Bureau, and anyone else available by phone, we succeeded in rounding up another $350. 2:30 a.m. The money was tied in 2 small bundles, with hundreds, 50s, and 20s on top. $1 bills were sandwiched in between. The 2 bundles were placed in a briefcase and delivered to me at the hotel on 5th Street. A gun was also in the briefcase. I took it out, put it in my pocket, closed the briefcase. 2:45 a.m. I left the hotel with the money and started for the big meet. 3 a.m. 7th and Alameda.
McMillan, how are you?
Scully?
We're down this way. You have the money?
Well, your pal said all or nothing. I got it.
Let's have a look.
How about the merchandise?
We can check it in the cards right down here.
Rhodes?
Hi. The money?
Yeah, that's right. I got the money. Now, how about a look at this stuff? I'd like to know what I'm buying.
We can stop on the way for a sample. Okay, Howard. You have some, McMullen?
What do you got?
Cashew nuts. Have some.
Thank you.
There's lots of heat in this town. Cops as thick as flies.
Yeah, that's right. Rough time. I gotta be careful.
What's the reason, anyway? When did it start?
Well, about 6 weeks ago, Bulls tagged some high school kids. Half of them.
Huh?
What for? Well, they were regular hypes. Just punks, 18-year-olds. A couple of them were 17.
Young squirts.
Yeah, and the heat's going to get worse. One of the punks cashed in yesterday. Read it in the paper. Overdose.
Not going to help, is it?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm playing it close. I got good customers, and I'm not going to risk my neck.
How much stuff do you think you can handle a month, McMillan?
No thanks, no more. Oh, I got about 30 mainliners. They're regular and they're sure. 8-10 ounces a week, but they like good stuff, no alley hype junk.
Howard must have told you it's all we handle good stuff. If it goes right, we could make it a permanent connection with you.
I'd like to see what you're offering first.
We'll have a good look. All right, Howard, you know where to pull up.
Yeah.
You stay in the car, McMillan.
All right.
Yeah. All right, Mac, you can get out.
Yeah.
There you go. Some of the best white stuff you've seen in a long time. Satisfy yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, it's standard.
It's all good. Not just that sample.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, now how about the money?
All right, have a look. There you are. 1 stack. 2 stacks, 100s, 20s, 10s. A few 5s in there. It's $10,000. Satisfied?
Okay. Jim?
Right.
Oh, excuse me, Mac. Just a minute. I'm just checking.
What do you think you're doing? Get your lousy hands off of me.
No offense, McMillan. These are simple precautions.
Precautions nothing. We're doing business, aren't we? You shook me down once tonight. Now, how many times are going to take you?
No offense, Mac. He was just checking, that's all.
All right, then. Suppose I fan you two down. I got the dough. How do I know this isn't a hijack deal? Now, come on. This business works both ways. Either we have a deal or we don't. We play ball on both sides or not at all. I'm getting sick and tired of taking second place.
Okay, Mac. Okay, take it easy. Forget it, Howard. Let's all go back to the car.
Sure. I'm sorry, Mac. No offense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close the deal.
Where are we going to go?
Don't worry, it's a safe place. Okay, Howard.
$3:35 a.m. In another hour, it'd start getting light. I knew they'd planned to have the buy take place before then. According to our plan, Ben and Sergeant Hunt, along with the other team of men from the State Narcotics Bureau, they were to tail us to the place of the meet and move in on a signal from me when the buy was actually in progress. 3:45 a.m. Scully drove out North Figueroa onto Pasadena Avenue and turned right onto Avenue 43. We headed up Montecito Drive. The area became more deserted. There were no homes around, no buildings of any kind to provide cover for anybody that might be following. Somewhere below, we could hear the rattle of a freight train on its way to the Southern Pacific yards. Off in the distance, I could see the lights of the city. They looked pretty far away. Scully finally pulled the car to a stop on the crest of the highest hill in the area. We got out.
What do you think, Mac?
A nice view.
Yeah. Spent a long time finding this spot. Foolproof.
Yeah?
Bring him over here, Jim. Let's show him.
Come on. See there? Clear view of everything down below. At least half a mile in every direction. No chance of getting trapped up here.
Pretty smart. That's the way I like to deal.
If there's any cops following us, we can see the lights before they get here. Plenty of time to cover up any evidence. Cops ask questions, well, we tell them we're just looking at real estate up here. It's pretty good, huh?
Well, I gotta hand it to you. You can't be too careful. What do you do for lookouts?
Let me show you. Swede? Oh, Swede.
Who's that?
Friend.
Yeah, Jim?
Well, what's the pitch? Who is this guy?
Business pal of Howard and me. Swede, this is Mr. McMillan.
What do you say?
How do you do?
Look, how many people do you need to make a buy, Rhodes, huh?
Swede's a lookout. It's a big fella, isn't he?
We got enough people here for a Sunday picnic.
We need a lookout. You just got to finish saying it. We can't be too careful.
Well, come on, let's wrap it up. Where's the stuff?
Swede, you want to go?
Okay, Howard.
How far does he have to go?
Close by. Stuff was put away down in the tall grass. Nobody ever found it.
It's a good idea. I like the way you operate.
Swede will have the stuff for you in a minute. Well, how about the money? Should we count it?
Rather wait till Swede gets back.
Okay. Let's wait for the car.
Can't beat this spot, can you, McMillan?
No, it's good.
You had no idea how much time we spent looking for it.
You did real good.
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay, thanks.
Now the money,
Well, how about counting it out here, huh? I'd feel better keeping an eye on that road down below.
Okay, good idea.
Well, let's count it, Mac, huh?
Yeah, all right. Here you go. There's one bundle, and there's the other.
I'll count it, Jim.
Yeah, snap it up. We've been here long enough already.
1, 2, 4. There's quite a few $1 bills here.
Huh?
Well, there's a few of them, but it's all there. 10
well,
grand.
that's how it could be with all these ones.
Now, let me see.
Don't bother, Rhodes.
Here, what are you trying to pull?
All right, get away from the car, Scully. You too, Swede.
Put the gun down, Mac. You won't get away with
Get
it.
your hands behind your head. That means you too, Rhodes.
Nobody's hijacked us, McMillan. You're not going to be the first one.
It's no hijack, mister. This is a pinch.
He's a fuzz. He's a lousy fuzzy. I knew I should have found him again.
Shut up, Howard. You know we can square this with you, Mac. $5,000 cold cash, no questions.
You're talking to yourself, Rhodes.
I'll make it 10. 10 grand cash. Now, you can't afford to pass that up.
Come on, how about it, Mac? You're human just like we are. You can use the dough.
You keep your hands behind your head, mister.
Use some sense, copper. Swede's as strong as a horse. I could put him on you, he'd break every bone in your body.
Gonna have to get past this gun first.
You're not going to stop all three of us. How do you think you're going to get back to town?
Don't worry, he won't have to walk.
You'll never get us downtown. Sweet will break you in half. He'll kill you.
You just gave me an idea, Rhodes.
Huh?
You're pretty tough. Shouldn't bother you. I'll kill the Swede right now. You and Scully can carry his body in front of me. We'll start walking down that road and we hit the nearest place with a phone. I think that'll take care of it, won't it?
He hasn't got the guts, Jim.
Turn around, Swede.
Oh, look, don't kill me, mister. I'll go away. Don't shoot.
Turn around. Stay where you are, Scully.
Don't kill him, Copper. Don't kill Swede. We'll do anything you say.
Somebody coming. Look, Mac, we'll give you every dime we own. $50,000 bucks. Now tell him nothing's happened.
Ben, over here.
50 grand, Mac. You can't lose.
Right, Joe. Back over this way.
The three of them, Ben.
Okay. All right, behind your back. Come on. Couldn't get here any sooner, Joe. Had to park at the bottom of the hill. They'd have seen us.
Stand still, mister.
Yeah.
We circled around on foot, climbed up through the grass.
I was beginning to think I lost you.
All right, you two. Get him behind your back.
Back.
Hi, Joe.
Here's the junk right here. These 2 packages.
Good. That ought to sew it up.
Look, talk it over with your partners, huh? $50,000. You do the right thing. It's all yours.
How about it? 50 grand you can't lose.
What they talking about, Joe?
But they got a big deal. They'll give us $50,000 if we let them go.
How about it, Tex? You could use the dough, new car, new house. Just forget you ever saw us. Easy as that. 50,000 cash. What do you say, Tex, huh?
Sorry, you got the wrong man.
What?
My name ain't Tex.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
In a moment, the results of their trial. Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. In his training, the working detective is taught the importance of thoroughness. He has learned never to overlook even the smallest detail. What may seem unimportant to the novice may well be the one thing to help the working detective successfully culminate his case. So, with a cigarette. The people who make Fatima are well-trained and thorough in the manufacture of their cigarette. Fatimas contain the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended. And pack after pack, Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Smoke Fatima.
May Washburn, Howard Lewis Scully, James Henry Rhodes, and John Swede Nelson were tried and convicted. They received their sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases, portions transcribed from official files.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a homicide detail. The life of a young woman is in danger. Anonymous letters and phone calls threaten her with murder. The notes bear the mark of a fanatic. Your job, stop them.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack of Fatimas.
You'll find they now cost the same.
Light a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, March 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Steed. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 6:45 p.m. when we got to Greenwich Street. Number 318.
Yes, gentlemen?
Police officers. Like to see Dr. Small, please.
I'm Reverend Small. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
Here, let me take your hats, officers. I've been waiting for you.
Oh, thanks. My name's Friday. This is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do? I'm glad to know it.
How do you do, sir? Hope we didn't interrupt your dinner?
Oh, no. The organist, Brother Reber, and I were just running over a few hymns for the service tonight. Would you come this way, please, into the parlor?
All right.
As I mentioned on the telephone, I'm not much of a detective, but I think something should be done about this matter as soon as possible.
Well, we'd like to get a few more particulars first, Reverend. When did you first find out about these threatening letters?
Sister Dorothy Wilson. I think I told you about her. She came here to the rectory and showed them to me. She told me she's been getting them for the last 4 days, and phone calls, too.
Mm-hmm. How long have you known this Dorothy Wilson? Is she one of your regular parishioners?
Well, she first joined my congregation about a month ago. She's been in regular attendance at our services ever since.
Is that the church next door, joining the rectory here?
Yes, that's right, Sergeant. Second Reformed Church of the Holy Book. I founded it here about 3 years ago, and I've been pastor ever since.
Have you ever had this trouble before? I mean, threats against the people who join your church?
No, never any trouble at all.
I wonder if you have those notes that Miss Wilson's been receiving, Reverend?
Yes, right here on my desk. Let me see, Yes, here are the 5 Sister Wilson got. And here are the 2 that I received.
Wonder if I could look at them.
Yes, surely. Here you are.
Thanks.
Oh, would you excuse me for a moment? It's about time for Brother Reber to get over to the church. I'd better tell him.
Certainly, Reverend. Didn't mean to hold you up.
No, not at all. I'll be back in just a moment.
All right, sir.
What do they look like, Joe?
Yeah, let's see. Postmarks here are March 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th. Come from different places around town, according to the postmark. There's Long Beach, a couple from Azusa, Glendale here. No return address on any of them. This notebook paper looks like to me this one. Isn't it to you?
Yeah.
And there's this other one here. Looks like some kind of wrapping paper. The writing's not too bad. Let's see. According to the postmark, this is the first one they got, I guess.
I'll see. Dorothy Wilson, you are a sinner and you have led a sinful life. Yet you have the nerve to come into our church and make believe you're a Christian. Spelling sure is bad.
Yeah.
I have been coming to our church for a long time, and it is an outrage to have you praying in our temple. If you don't get out and stay out, I'm going to make sure you're taken care of for good. Look outside.
Sister in the Lord.
Must be some kind of a fanatic. We'd better run all these through the crime lab.
Yeah. This one, maybe. It's typewritten. Well, here, you read it. It's dated March 6th.
Yeah, take this as a warning. Bring your sinful body to our church again, and your blood will run in the aisles. A life can be taken when God demands it. It could be yours.
Sorry for the interruption, officers. A few things I had to remind Brother Reber of.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen all the letters?
Well, we're just checking them over, Reverend.
It's certainly a terrible thing for our church. I hope we can keep the matter as quiet as possible.
Yes, sir. I noticed 2 different signatures on these notes. Now, half of them are signed a sister in the Lord.
Yes.
And the other half are signed, it's Brother D.R. Griswold.
Yes, that's right. The first letter I got was from this Brother Griswold. His are the typewritten ones.
You know anyone in your congregation with that name, Reverend? D.R. Griswold?
No, I checked over my list of regular parishioners twice. If there is such a man, I don't know of him.
Well, we can run that name through R&I anyway, huh, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any suspicions at all, Reverend?
What do you mean, Sergeant?
Well, I mean, can you think of anybody in your congregation who might possibly resent this Miss Wilson's joining your church, maybe?
Well, no, I haven't had an opportunity to think it over in that light, but I can't imagine anybody in our group writing letters like this.
What's her background, Reverend? Do you know much about her?
No, she's a quiet girl. She's very religious. Works as a stenographer at an office downtown. Helps support her mother.
Will she be at church tonight?
Yes, she's here already, helping to set up the chairs for the service. Why, would you like to talk to her?
Yes, sir, if we could.
All right, let's go over to the church. There's still half an hour before services begin.
All right, fine. I'll have to take these letters along with us, Reverend. We want our handwriting man to check them over?
Yes, by all means. That manila envelope on the desk, you can put them in there if you like.
Thank you. This one here?
Yes.
Okay.
This way, officers.
How many members do you have in your church, Reverend Small?
162 regulars. Another 100 or so on the fringe. They attend only occasionally.
You mentioned that this Miss Wilson's had threatening phone calls, too.
Yes, that's what she told me this afternoon.
Man's voice or a woman?
Sister Wilson said both. The phone calls usually follow each letter. They identify themselves the same way, Brother Griswold and a sister in the Lord.
Have you received any calls from them?
No, I've been half expecting them, but I haven't had any yet. Here, shall we go in?
Please.
Here we are. Our seating arrangement's still temporary. We hope to have pews installed next year.
Uh-huh. Nice church.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, there's Sister Wilson. She's helping set up the chairs. If you'd like to wait in the choir's dressing room, I'll bring her in there to you.
All right, thank you, Reverend. Let's go, man.
This one, Joe?
Yeah, this is it.
Ought to open a few windows in here. It's musty.
Yeah. What time do you say the services start?
7:30. It's 5 minutes past 7 now.
Officers?
Yes, sir.
Officers, this is Sister Dorothy Wilson. Sister Wilson, Sergeant Friday.
How do you do, man?
Hello.
And Sergeant Ramirez.
That's Romero.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sergeant Romero, Sister Wilson.
Hello.
Glad to know you.
I guess you want to speak with Sister Wilson alone, do you?
Well, we'd like to have you stay if you would, Reverend. Wonder if there's someplace where we could sit down.
Yes, certainly. Right over here in the anteroom.
Fine. Yeah, this would be fine.
Now, Sister Wilson, there's no need to be afraid. These officers are here to help you and to protect you. See that nothing happens.
Yes, Brother Small.
Hold fast and faithful to the Lord, and you shall not fear.
Yes, I will. You want me to tell you all about it, Sergeant, how it started?
No, if you please. Say, is it all right to smoke in here?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
You want a chair for a second?
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
Ben? Not right now. Okay, I'll leave it back there if you want. We've already looked over the letters that you received. The Reverend here told us that you got the first one last Friday.
Yes, that's right. I've gotten one each day since then. Phone calls, too.
Did you recognize the voices making the calls?
No, I didn't know them at all. The woman's voice was very rough. Sounded like she might be old.
Mm-hmm.
She said some terrible things about me and Brother Small. She called both of us terrible names. Awful.
The same with the man who calls?
Oh, yes, sometimes he's even worse. Mm-hmm. None of the things they say are true, Sergeant. Not one word.
Well, I'd like you to think carefully before you answer this, Miss Wilson. Is there anyone at all that you know in your neighborhood, here at church or at your work, who might be doing this? Maybe somebody that you knew a few years ago, some acquaintance?
Ever since it's happened, I've been trying to think of someone. I don't think I've ever met anybody who'd do this kind of thing.
Well, how about a former boyfriend or a girlfriend who might be jealous of you for some reason?
No. I did have quite a few boyfriends, just casual dates, nothing serious. They were always taking me out, dancing and out to parties. We went everywhere, but I was never interested in any of them.
Well, were any of them upset when you stopped going out with them?
A few of them were angry when I wouldn't marry them, but I don't think any of them would write those kind of letters. Do you think the whole thing might be some kind of a joke someone's playing?
It's a pretty grim joke to go this far. You live by yourself, Miss Wilson?
No, with my mother, but I don't want her to know anything about this.
Well, I think it'd be wiser if you told her.
No, she mustn't know. Mother's been ill lately, and if she found out, it might upset her an awful lot. She's not well at all.
Help yourself to some of the water there, Jim.
Miss Wilson, like a drink?
Yes, please, I would.
All right.
Thank you.
There you are. Anybody else? Reverend?
Yes, please.
Ben?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yourself. How about some of the church members, Miss Wilson? Have any of them been at all unfriendly to you since you started coming here?
No, I don't think so. A few are pretty hard to get to know. They're shy, I guess. But none of them have been uncharitable.
Then you don't think the threats are coming from anyone in the church?
Well, if they are, I don't know who the person is. The way they say all those rotten things about me. They call me a sinner and a bad woman. Well, I guess I'm a sinner, like all of us are, but I'm not a bad woman. I'm going to church because I want to be born again of the light. But I've never killed anyone, and I've never been a bad woman. You believe me, don't you, Reverend?
Yes, of course I do. Now, don't get yourself all upset, Sister Wilson.
You think that's why they want to murder me, because I'm a sinner? You think that's why?
Please, Sister Wilson, try and get your mind off.
If they want to kill me because I'm a sinner, then why don't they want to kill all the sinners?
Well, we're going to have a lot of homicides if they try. p.m. Together with Sergeants Raines and Bechtel, we tailed Dorothy Wilson to her home. She parked her car at the rear and went inside. A stakeout was placed on her house. The next morning, we took the threatening letters which the Wilson girl had received and asked Don Meyer in handwriting to check them over. During the next 5 days, we checked thoroughly into the background of Dorothy Wilson. We talked to her relatives, her employers, all her friends, past and present. We had no good reason to suspect any of them. We checked out the people at the church, and they were clear. Both Reverend Small and the Wilson girl continued to receive more threatening letters. Some of the language and the accusations were pretty foul. Still, no outward attempts were made on the life of the Wilson girl. A week after we started on the case, we tallied up our findings. They seemed to make sense. We talked it over with Raines in the squad room.
Don Myers checking those letters and a sample of the Wilson girl's handwriting, isn't he? What's he got to say?
The letters written in longhand are signed to Sister and the Lord, and the typewritten letters are signed Brother D.R. Grizzle.
Yeah, I know that.
Don says all the letters were written by the same person.
How's he figure?
Well, similarities in phrasing, same mistakes in spelling, typewritten and longhand both. Signatures on the Griswold letters match the handwriting in the other letters.
They were only dealing with one suspect.
And Don Meyer seems pretty sure of it, yeah.
Well, how does the Wilson girl's handwriting check out?
He's working on that.
Where does that leave us?
You've been on stakeouts at the Wilson girl's home a few nights. Haven't you noticed anything peculiar about the setup?
How do you mean?
Something that didn't fit, something that didn't quite jive?
No, I don't think so. Well, just that business about her car, I thought that was a little out of line.
Yeah, it struck us the same way.
Girl always seemed frightened enough about the situation when she's around us, but when she thinks she's alone, it looks to me like she takes it a little differently.
Yeah.
Every night when she drives home, she parks the car in a dark garage. Must be at least 50, 75 yards from her house.
Yeah.
I've never seen her look particularly nervous and taking that long walk to her front door.
I'm sure the normal reaction for a frightened woman would be to park the car right in front of the house and then hurry inside. She hasn't done that once.
How about all those friends of hers you guys checked out? Anything there?
Well, we've been staked out at her house, at the church, and her work. You know that. There's not a thing. Checked with some of her ex-boyfriends, too.
Nothing there?
Well, the Wilson girl told us that some of the boys had proposed to her. We couldn't find one who'd admit it. They all said she was a nice girl, but they didn't propose marriage.
Those threatening phone calls are another thing. Both the pastor of the church and Dorothy Wilson got letters, but only the girl received a phone call.
Yeah.
Well, logically, if the Reverend got the letters the same time as the girl, he should have been getting phone calls, too. He hasn't received a one.
Well, it could be accidental. Whoever wants to kill the girl might figure the Reverend would recognize his voice.
Well, it's possible, but you remember that story that the Wilson girl gave us about her mother. Remember that? She didn't want her to know about the letters because her mother was sick. Well, we checked with her mother's doctor, and Mrs. Wilson hasn't been sick in 5 years.
Yeah, how about that? What do you figure?
I think the girl's a fake. Everything we knew about the case of Dorothy Wilson, everything we learned through questioning and observation seemed to point to one definite conclusion. Dorothy Wilson, for one reason or another, was writing the threatening letters to herself. As for the warnings that she got over the telephone, we only had her word for it. We took our findings to Captain Steed and laid out the case for him. He directed us to stay on it for a few more days until we could find enough evidence and testimony to prove out our theory. The following day, Dorothy Wilson received a letter more threatening than any of the previous ones. Reverend Small also received a copy of the same letter. Again, Don Meyer's opinion was that they were written by the same person.
Raines? What's doing?
I don't know. Boys got any new theories?
What do you mean?
On the Dorothy Wilson case.
Do we need one?
I don't think your old one's going to hold up.
Why? What's the matter?
She's at Georgia Street.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to kill her.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos, the finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
As soon as we got the report that Dorothy Wilson had been attacked by an unknown assailant, we drove to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital where she was being treated. Anderson and Bechtel from Homicide were standing by. We talked to the doctor, who told us that the victim had no serious injuries. She had 2 slight bruises on her upper arms and a slight bruise on her forehead. She complained of a headache. While the doctor made out his report, we questioned the Wilson girl. She told us that she'd gone to the Church of the Holy Book at 6 o'clock that night after work. She told us that she wanted to pray before the start of the regular service at 8:15 p.m. We asked her exactly when and where the attack occurred.
At about 6:30, I felt a little tired. I told the officers on duty at the church I thought I'd get a little rest before services started, and then I went into the ladies' dressing room and laid down. That's what happened. It was terrible.
Did you see the person who tried to hurt you?
No. I was lying down with my eyes closed, and he must have come up from behind. He put his hands around my throat and started to press tight. It was awful, just awful.
What happened then, Miss Wilson?
Well, I fought as hard as I could. I kicked and scratched him, and I guess I hurt him because he let go of my throat for a minute. After that, he pulled me down on the floor. I remembered that. And then he put his hands around this part of my head like this.
Mm-hmm. The other officers told us that one of the choir members, Mr. Sherman, found you unconscious in the choir room. Is that right?
Yes. Whoever it was who wanted to kill me, they put a gag in my mouth and blindfolded me, then tied my wrists together with tape. That's how Mr. Sherman found me.
How long do you figure you were unconscious then?
I don't know. It was about 6:35 when I laid down in the dressing room. Mr. Sherman said he found me there at 20 minutes past 7.
And then you were out about 45 minutes, is that it?
I suppose so. I don't remember anything.
Well, what makes you think the person who attacked you wanted to kill you, Miss Wilson?
That's what they said in the letters, isn't it? They want to kill me for coming to church?
Now, your purse and everything that was in it was scattered all over the dressing room floor. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. My money and everything scattered all over. I guess they wanted to rob me, too.
$52 in cash. Is that what you had with you?
That's right, a $50 bill and some change. I don't know why they didn't take it. Maybe something frightened them off.
It's possible.
The officers found some other articles scattered around the dressing room. A roll of tape, a metal box that the tape came in, and a half a dozen razor blades. Did you notice any of these in the dressing room before you were attacked?
No, none of them. I never saw them before. Those razor blades, officer, what do you think they wanted to do with them?
There's no use thinking about that now. It's all over.
I knew I'd be protected. I felt the spirit. I knew the holy light would protect me.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you find whoever did it, officer?
Well, this is just a hunch, Miss Wilson.
Yes.
I think we already have. Before we left Georgia Street, we talked to the doctor in charge and got a release for the patient. Dorothy Wilson agreed to drive back with us to the office to make out a crime report. On the way, she seemed to lose most of her nervousness. She was relaxed and she talked quite a bit.
Religion's a great comfort to me, Sergeant. I think it's a great comfort to anybody, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe I'm different from most girls, but I get an awful lot out of my church. It's like Brother Small says, you have to be born again of the holy light if you really want to live. Don't you think so?
That's right.
I don't know what I'd do if it wasn't for my religion. No, I used to have a lot of boyfriends. Of course, I don't care for any of them anymore, but when I was younger, they were always taking me out all the time.
Yes, so?
Yes, I had a good time when I was younger, going out to dinner, dancing, parties. Fellas were taking me out all the time. Of course, that was when I was younger.
You're not much over 25 now, are you, Miss
I'll be
Wilson?
27 in August. That's pretty old for an unmarried girl, but I'm not worried. get interested in more important things when you get older, isn't that right?
Oh, yes, that's right.
I remember when I was in junior college, how boy crazy I was. I remember that junior prom I went to. Seems such a long time ago.
Yeah.
I had the most beautiful white dress, Sergeant, with sequins. And the skirt was all white and that, gathered in here at the waist, and it flared out real full. I went to the dance with one of the big football players. He looked so nice in his blue suit. His name was Stanley. I knew him for a long time. He's one of the fellows who asked me to marry him. I guess I was too particular. I just couldn't see any of them.
Would you mind if I laid out a few facts for you, Miss Wilson?
Well, not at all, Sergeant. Go ahead, please.
Now, I'm not trying to embarrass you in any way, but since we've been on this case, we've checked with just about all the friends that you've had in the past few years, and that includes your boyfriends, of course. None of the fellows that you've mentioned say they've ever proposed marriage to you. Say they've been out with you once or twice, but that's all.
Oh, well, you probably didn't talk to the right fellows. You probably got the names mixed.
No, ma'am, we didn't. We talked to the right people.
Well, I can't understand that.
Neither can we, Miss Wilson.
Well, what difference does it make anyway? I wasn't interested in them. I wouldn't have married them anyway. Going out and dancing, parties, that's all they were interested in.
What reason did you have for lying to us?
Parking in a car, necking with girls, trying to take advantage of them. That's all those fellows wanted. Some of the silly girls they married.
Oh, I don't...
You discover a lot more important things when you get older, Sergeant.
No, I don't think that's the point. Why did you lie to us about it?
I don't know, really. Maybe I didn't have a reason. I just didn't remember right, I guess.
Well, you sure remember right about what happened tonight.
What do you mean? It just happened. Of course I'm sure about it. Someone tried to kill me.
Might as well park on Spring Street, Ben. It's pretty clear this time of night.
Yeah, okay.
Sergeant, I wish you'd tell me what you're getting at. What are you thinking?
Well, there's still a few things that we're not too sure of, Miss Wilson. We'd like to clear them up.
What aren't you too sure of? I told you everything I knew. I was lying down in the dressing room and somebody tried to kill me. I told you all about it.
Well, you told us you were unconscious about 45 minutes, didn't you?
Yeah, 40 or 45.
No, we talked to the doctor at Georgia Street. And the way you described the attack, it would have been just about impossible for anybody to make you unconscious that long by pressing his hands against your head.
But he hit me on the head, too. You can see the bruise here.
Well, yes, ma'am, I know, but that's very slight. The doctor says that couldn't have done it either. Just a minute, I'll get the door here. Miss Wilson?
What else aren't you sure of?
Well, your wrists were taped individually. Now, if somebody wanted to restrain you, they probably would have taped them together, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know what they would have done. All I know is they wanted to kill me. They said so in those letters.
We're not too sure of those letters either, Miss Wilson.
What? What aren't you sure of?
Where they're coming from and who's sending them. We do know they were all written to the same person.
How do you know that? They're signed by two different people.
Our handwriting man checked them over. He says they're written to the same person.
You might as well have it straight, Miss Wilson.
If we're going to talk, can't we do it inside someplace? Please, I'm tired.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
I'll see if latent fingerprints is finished with that stuff.
Yeah, bring it along. If they are, we'll be in the interrogation room.
Yeah, all right.
This way, Miss Wilson.
A man I know used to be on the police force. Nice fellow. We used to go out all the time together.
Oh, that's so. What's his name?
Well, that's funny. I don't remember. He's an awfully nice fellow, though. We used to go dancing every week.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Go right ahead. I started questioning Dorothy Wilson, but she wanted to talk about everything except what concerned the case. Dean Bergman and latent fingerprints had already checked each article that was found at the supposed scene of the crime. The Wilson girls' prints were all over them.
Did you write those threatening letters to yourself, Miss Wilson?
I don't understand. Why do you ask me something like that?
Did you write the letters to yourself?
You know that's not a fair question, Sergeant.
I don't know what you consider fair, but we'd like to know, did you write the letters?
Do you know what it is to pray, Sergeant? I mean, really pray?
What's that got to do with it?
I've been praying all my life. I've been praying hard. Ever since I was a little girl.
We'd like to have you answer our question, Miss Wilson.
I think you'll understand. This is the answer, Sergeant. I can feel the Holy Spirit in my heart. I know you'll understand.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been praying for an awfully long time, Sergeant. When I was a little girl, 6 years old, I was praying. Night and day I said my prayers, but there never seemed to be any answer. I never could understand it because I only prayed for one thing. I didn't think it was too much to ask.
What was that?
I wanted people to know me, Sergeant. I wanted people to know me and like me, that's all, but it never seemed to happen, even when I was a little girl.
Don't think I quite follow you, miss.
You've got to understand me. Nobody else does. From the time I was a little girl, 6, nobody ever seemed to care if I was around or not. I always tried to make friends, tried to make people like me. I tried very hard, but nobody seemed to care. Nobody even noticed me. Nobody ever noticed me.
You mean that's why you wrote those threatening letters to yourself, so that you'd be noticed?
I wanted somebody to care about me, that's all. I wanted them to know who I was. Dorothy Wilson. I wanted to walk down the street and have people nod and have them say, that's Dorothy Wilson. There goes Dorothy Wilson. Just for somebody to care, that's all, Sergeant. Just for somebody to care.
Well, then the whole thing's purely your imagination. You wrote the letters to yourself and you pretended somebody attacked you. And all the rest.
God told me to do it, Sergeant. He told me to make myself noticed. To stand up and make people know me. I'm sorry for it now, but it didn't hurt anyone, did it?
Well, ma'am, you had an awful lot of people working for nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was so nice while it lasted. People looking after me, caring about where I went, what happened to me. It's the first time anybody ever really noticed me.
It was that important to you?
People knew who I was. Dorothy Wilson. They all noticed me. I feel better now that it's over. Oh, there's one thing I've got to tell you, Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am.
Remember driving here in the car I told you about that junior prom I went to?
Mm-hmm.
That time I had a beautiful white net dress with a full skirt, the beautiful new white dress.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am, I remember. What about it?
Well, it was really pink organdy, an old dress. I knew you'd find out. That's why I had to tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to think I was a liar.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
In a moment, the results of the trial. Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Dragnet's mail this week has included cards from some of you listeners saying that your dealer is out of Fatima's. Thank you. We've done something about that. Now, if any more of you find a dealer fresh out of Fatima's, send me his name and address, and we'll do something about that, too. Write me, Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood. And, Mr. Dealer, don't wait a day. Step up your orders for Fatima. Get in on this ever-increasing demand for the quality long cigarette.
By her own admission, Dorothy Wilson was guilty of filing a false crime report, a misdemeanor. She was released into the custody of her mother. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases transcribed from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A newborn baby is taken from a hospital nursery. There's no trace of the infant. There's no trace of the abductor. Your job, find him.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
Buy a pack of Fatimas.
You'll find they now cost the same.
Light a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
In Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
Try comparing Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
We're was Thursday, January 28th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Steve. My name's Friday. It was 11:35 p.m. when we got to Mercy Hospital on Norwich Avenue, the main entrance.
Better check at the desk.
Yeah.
2B, right away on it. 2B, Wayne. Yes, sir?
Police officers, we received a call from the hospital here.
Oh, yes, sir. Right this way, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Walsh is waiting for you.
Is he the man in charge?
Oh, no, Dr. Walsh is the head of the hospital.
I see.
Please, Dr. Walsh.
Hi. Come in, please. Come in.
Thank you, miss.
Yes.
Dr. Walsh.
How do you do?
It's my partner, Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you. Will you have a seat, please?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, I just got here a few moments ago myself. No doubt you know as much about this as I do.
We were notified that a 3-day-old baby's missing. Is that correct?
Yes, one of the Stryker twins. Found just Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm. Where'd the baby disappear from, Doctor?
Nursery. Can't understand how it could happen. Never heard of such a thing.
Who was in charge of the nursery?
Nurse O'Connor. She's back with the superintendent of nurses. Quite upset. Would you like to talk to her?
Yes, sir, we would.
All right. This way, please.
Thank you.
Can't understand it. How could a baby disappear like that?
Have the parents been notified?
Father's on his way in now. We haven't told the mother yet.
Mm-hmm. When did they first notice the baby was gone?
I understand it was around 11 p.m.
Call came into our office about 11:20.
Go ahead, Sergeant. Nurse O'Connor?
Yes, Dr. Walsh.
These gentlemen are from the police department. Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday.
What do you do?
I want to know all about what happened tonight. You know, of course, it's a serious matter. Try to tell exactly how it happened.
I'll try, Doctor.
All right, officers.
Thank you. Well, we know that you're probably pretty upset, nurse, now. You just relax and take your time.
Yes, sir.
When did you first notice that the Stryker baby was missing?
Must have happened somewhere between 11 o'clock and 10 minutes past 11. I'm sure of that.
How were you sure of that?
I came on duty a few minutes before 11. I took the night reports as usual, and I started checking the orders and the formulas. I remember very well that both the Stryker twins were in their cribs at that time.
Mm-hmm. Go on, please.
I think it must have been about 5 minutes past 11 when I got this phone call from home. My mother's been sick lately. It was about her.
How far did you have to go to answer the phone?
About 10 feet down the hall from the nursery, just around the corner.
Could you see the entrance to the nursery from where you were talking on the phone?
No, sir, I couldn't. But I was only on the phone for a minute or two. As soon as I hung up, I came right back to the nursery.
Was the telephone call actually from your mother?
Yes, sir. My mother has a heart condition. She wanted me to be sure and have a prescription filled.
What time was it when you got back to the nursery, owner? Can you remember that?
It wasn't quite 10 minutes past 11. As I came back through the door into the nursery, I noticed right away one of the cribs was empty. One of the Stryker twins was gone.
Is there more than one entrance to the nursery, Miss O'Connor?
Yes, sir. There are 2 entrances, but at night one of them's kept locked.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible that somebody in the hospital, maybe a doctor, took the baby for examination or some kind of treatment?
No, sir. Just as soon as I noticed the baby was gone, I went to the head nurse, and the 2 of us contacted everybody in the hospital. No one knew anything about it.
Well, is it possible that the child's mother could have come down from the second floor and taken the baby?
No, sir. Miss Stryker's been asleep since 10 o'clock. She's still asleep.
Were there any other nurses or attendants working near the nursery when the baby disappeared?
No. No reason for anyone besides myself to be around at that time. None of the cleaning people. They'd all gone home.
Dr. Walsh, I wonder if we could have a look at the nursery now.
Certainly, Sergeant. Want Nurse O'Connor to come along?
Yes, would you please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This way, gentlemen. Straight down the hall.
What are the hospital visiting hours, Doctor?
The usual. 2 until 4 in the afternoon, 7 to 9 in the evenings. Quite strict about that.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if all the visitors had left the hospital by 9 o'clock tonight?
Well, of course, I wasn't here, but the superintendent of nurses told me they'd all left by 9. She's compiling a list of every visitor we had this evening.
Good. They'll all have to be checked.
Nursery's right here, officers.
Mm-hmm. This empty crib just inside the window here.
Yes, sir. It's where the baby was. You can see it's right next to the door here.
I noticed that there's no blanket in the crib. Is that missing, too?
Yes, sir. The crib's just the way I found it when I came back from the telephone. I haven't touched it.
Are there any marks of identification on the blanket or the clothing?
Each one stenciled Mercy Hospital. Each baby wears an ID bracelet.
Doctor, I wonder if we could have that crib brought out to have it checked for possible fingerprints.
Certainly, of course.
Is this the other door to the nursery you mentioned, Miss O'Connor?
That's right, Sergeant. I checked it. It's locked.
That large window on the other side of the nursery. Is that a stationary window?
Yes, sir, it is. It faces onto a small court.
Well, then whoever took the baby had to use this door.
It's the only way they could have gotten in. Oh, excuse me a minute. I want to attend to the baby in there.
Sure.
Listen to that, Jim.
Yeah. Doctor, are there any other entrances open at night besides the main one?
Not after 10 p.m., no. Just the main entrance on Norwich Avenue. There's a nurse on duty there at all times.
How about the parents? Is there anything unusual there?
No. Father's a working man. Mother's a housewife. Both the babies are perfectly normal, nothing unusual at all.
3-day-old baby, they usually take a lot of careful handling, don't they?
Yes, definitely. First week's always critical. And this thing, taking a 3-day-old infant out in this weather, cold, rain. Afraid the odds are all against the child.
You're sure the main entrance was the only one open after 10 o'clock?
Yes. I can't understand it. How could anyone get that baby out of that hospital? How could they?
We're not sure they did. Midnight. A 3-day-old twin boy was missing from his crib in the hospital nursery. That's all we knew. We checked the list of possibilities. The baby could have been taken for ransom. Somebody wanted revenge on the Stryker family and decided on the baby as the best means. Maybe someone just wanted a child, someone mentally unsound, a maniac, a pervert. Maybe an accident had happened at the hospital. Somebody wanted to cover up. Possibly one of the parents or their families had a motive. Perhaps somebody just wanted the child dead. We called the office and got out an APB on the Stryker baby and a description of the blanket and the clothing. Details of officers were alerted at the bus depots, railroad terminals, the airports, all public transportation facilities. Steps were taken to notify doctors, hospitals, sanitariums, anybody in any place where a 3-day-old baby might be taken. The entire area around Mercy Hospital was canvassed. No information. The baby's crib was dusted for prints. No leads, no physical evidence. The investigation continued. When George Stryker, the father of the child, arrived, Ben and I met with him in the office of the hospital superintendent.
Can we let people know about it? Newspapers and the radio?
We've already covered that. Stories and pictures have gone out to the papers. We've notified the radio stations. They're getting out broadcasts on it.
How am I going to tell my wife?
Well, sir, there's only one thing that we can promise you. We'll do everything we can to find your baby.
Well, isn't there something I can do? Isn't there some way I can help?
This is just a remote possibility, Mr. Stryker, but you ought to know about it.
What's that?
In case anybody contacts you regarding your baby, in case they make any demands on you for money or anything else, we want you to notify us immediately.
What could they expect to get from us? We own our home. That's about all.
We just want to cover all the possibilities, Mr. Stryker. In case any demand at all is made, don't try to deal with the people. All right?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
One of the men from homicide would like to see you outside. Sergeant will leave us.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
We'll have to go now, Mr. Stryker. We'll keep you informed.
All right, thank you. Joe?
Yeah, I'll leave us.
I think we got something back here.
What's that?
Seamus and I were the night watchman out back, the side of the hospital that faces on Stacy Avenue.
Yeah.
2 doors back there just off the street. One of them's open.
Together with Sergeant Olivas and Dr. Walsh, the head of the hospital, we went back and examined the side door which opened onto Stacy Avenue. The latch was obviously faulty. It took only slight pressure on the door to open it. The latch, both doorknobs, and the door itself were dusted for prints. The entranceway and the immediate area were rechecked. No leads, no physical evidence. We traced an imaginary path from the open door to the nursery. We came to the conclusion that it could have been possible for an abductor to enter the hospital, make his way to the nursery, take the child from its crib in the absence of the night nurse, and leave by the same side door without being seen. Storekeepers and residents along Stacy Avenue were re-questioned. We got nowhere. When the abduction story broke in the newspaper and over the radio the next morning, the calls started to come in. People in practically all sections of the city thought that they'd seen the missing baby. Each call was carefully checked out. None of them paid off. 10 a.m. We checked back in at the office.
I must be getting old, Joe. Can't seem to take these all-night sessions like we used to.
I'm pretty tired. Drank too much coffee again. I got a sour stomach.
Hi.
Hi, Olivas.
All right. The stats office come up with that run for us yet?
No, they're still working on it.
How about that San Bernardino call?
Yeah, they called back. They picked the woman up when she got off the bus, checked her and the baby out. The baby belongs to her.
Mm-hmm. Anything else come in?
All been checked out. The press called again. Want to know if there are any new leads.
Yeah.
Sergeant Friday in here?
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
They told me in the business office to come down and see you.
Surely. Come on in.
Thanks. My name's Wallace. I'm the desk clerk down at the hotel on 11th Street, Bluebird Hotel.
Yes, sir.
I got some information. I'd like to talk to you.
All right, sir. This is my partner, Sergeant Romero, and Sergeant Olivas.
How are you?
Wallace. What's the information about?
Well, I got hold of a paper this morning, read about that baby that's missing.
Yes, sir.
Imagine those people are pretty worried about the kid. Guess they'd like all the information they can get, huh? Looks like that hospital's in a jam, what do you say?
Well, what information do you have, Wallace?
I guess those parents could sue the hospital if they wanted to, huh?
Well, sir, all we're interested in is finding the baby. Can you help us there?
Well, I don't know for sure.
What are you trying to tell us? Have you seen the baby?
Well, I may have. Do you happen to know if they're offering any reward for information?
Well, I don't know where it'd come from. The father's a working man.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Sergeant. I don't expect anything for any information I'd give, but, well, I don't make too much at the hotel. You know, if they wanted to show their gratitude in some way, just thought I'd mention it.
No, thank you, Wallace. Don't worry about that. Now, what's the information?
Well, you know, I didn't mean anything by that. Anybody'd be glad to help out in a case like this. What I came in to tell you was a woman and a young baby checked in the hotel last night when I was on duty.
What time?
I think it was about 12 o'clock. Woman didn't have any baggage or anything. One little blanket around the kid. When I saw that story in the paper this morning, I got suspicious.
Is the woman still registered at the hotel?
She was when I left. That was about an hour ago.
What name did she register under, you remember?
No, I don't, but it's in the register. You can check it if you want.
Where is the hotel?
11th and Charleston, right on the corner. Sure, it must be the kid you're looking for. Say, I hope you haven't got me wrong.
How do you mean?
About the reward, you know. I don't expect anything for this.
We haven't got you wrong. 35 a.m. It was still raining. Together with the desk clerk, Wallace, we drove to the Bluebird Hotel on 11th Street. We checked the cards at the desk and found that the woman had registered under the name of Mrs. Harold Parks. The clerk on duty told us as far as he knew she was still in the room with the baby.
The room's down this way, Sergeant.
Okay.
This is the 116. Mrs. Parks. Mrs. Parks.
You have a pass key with you, Wallace?
Here you are.
Thank you.
There's nobody here.
Wait a minute.
What have you got?
Small blanket. Check the lettering.
Mercy Hospital.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Oh, no.
Ah, that's different.
Yes, what a difference.
There's a difference you can hear, there's a difference you can see, but the difference in Fatima is quality.
Yes, friends, when you compare long cigarettes, you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos, the finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Friday, January 29th, 11 a.m. We were unable to locate the woman who had registered at the hotel under the name of Mrs. Parks. There was no sign of the baby. The blanket we found in the room was identified by hospital personnel as the same type used in the nursery. The room was checked for fingerprints and physical evidence. We found nothing. People in adjoining rooms were questioned, but they could give us no information. We got a description of the woman who used the name Mrs. Parks from the desk clerk, and we got out an all-points bulletin on her. Her hotel registration card was checked for handwriting and fingerprints. Captain Steed ordered an immediate canvass of all hotels, apartments, and rooming houses in the central area. The hotel clerks were shown mug shots of possible suspects. They failed to identify any of them. 3 p.m. Friday, the search for the Stryker baby went on.
Yeah, checked out all right. Okay, Gil, thanks.
Anything?
Gil and Zanis checked that Wilshire call. It's another phone.
Might have something, fellas.
Yeah?
Ruiz and I were making the rounds of hotels out along Pico. Stopped at a drugstore for a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to druggists while we were there. Had a pretty good story for us. You got a light?
Yeah. Here you go.
Thanks. This drugstore is 2 blocks from the hotel where the woman stayed. It's open all night. And the druggist told us a woman answering this Mrs. Park's description came in about 1:30 a.m. Bought a whole raft of stuff.
How do you mean? What kind of stuff?
Well, everything for a baby. Bottles, nipples, dextrose, oil powder, all that stuff.
Was he sure of the woman's description?
He gave it to us before we'd even mentioned what this Mrs. Parks looked like. Right down to the color of her coat.
Did she have the baby with her when she bought this stuff?
The druggist said no. She even asked him if she could buy canned milk there.
Where does it lead?
How do you mean?
Does he have any idea where the woman came from, where she went?
No, but he said if she came back in again, he'd call us right away. He's going to notify the other clerks, too. They'll keep us posted if anything turns up.
I got it. Homicide, Friday.
My name's Mrs. Lucy. I'm calling about that missing baby in the paper. Am I talking to the right department?
Yes, ma'am. Do you have any information on the case?
Well, I certainly have. I know where that striker baby is right now.
Where's that, ma'am?
Right next door. The Salazars have him.
What makes you so sure?
It's perfectly obvious, that's all. It's not their baby.
Why'd he say that?
That baby they have no more looks like Mr. Salazar, Mrs. Salazar, than mine do.
How do you mean, Mrs. Lucy?
It's very simple. Mr. Salazar is dark, quite dark. Dark hair, dark eyes, dark complexion. His wife's the same way.
Yes, ma'am.
The baby they have is a blonde.
Before I hung up, I got the woman's name and address and told her that we'd check out her neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Salazar. We weren't sure what it meant. It could be the real thing. It could be like 100 other calls that we'd had in the last 12 hours. Ben and I got in the car and drove out to the Salazar home on Wonderland Avenue. We noticed several cars parked in the driveway and in front of the house. We went up the front stairs and rang the doorbell.
Yes, sir? Come on in, please.
We'd like to speak to Mr. Salazar.
Yes, sir, that's me. Come on in.
Thank you.
Come inside. Let me fix you a drink. You're late, huh?
No, thank you. We're police officers, Mr. Salazar. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Oh? What's the matter? We're making too much noise for the neighbors?
No, it's not that, sir. Just like to ask you a few questions. Someplace we can talk.
Well, I have to take care of the guests, We have this party here. My son was baptized today, my first son. That's why we're having a party.
Yes, sir. We're sorry to interrupt, but this is pretty important. It won't take very long.
Well, all right. I guess they can get along for a few minutes. Back here in the kitchen. It's probably the quietest place.
Fine.
Back this way, aren't you?
Fine.
Over there. Pull up a couple of chairs.
Oh, thank you. Miss Salazar, this is my partner, Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. Homicide.
Yes, sir. What's the matter? What do you want to ask me?
We're investigating a case that involves a missing baby, sir.
Well, the one in the paper this morning. I read about that. It's a terrible thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. We've had a report that the missing baby was seen in this neighborhood. We don't know how true it is, but we have orders to check it out.
Well, sure, anything I can do. I don't know how much I can help, but I can understand how that mama and papa feel. My brand new son, I know how I feel.
How old is your son, Mr. Salazar?
He's just 1 week old this afternoon. Fine boy.
Was the baby born here in Los Angeles?
No, I sent my wife Roberta to Phoenix to have a baby. We thought it'd be a lot healthier for her down there. She has a good friend of hers in Phoenix.
Oh, I see. Your wife had the baby in Phoenix, and then she brought him back here.
Yes, that's right. Roberta came in early this morning. Big surprise for me. I didn't know she was coming. And right away, I called all our old friends. I called Father DeSoto for the baptism, and I got things ready for the party. Big baptism party.
Mm-hmm. You say your wife got back early this morning?
Yes, a few minutes after 3 o'clock. Roberta came in on the plane. She said it was late. You know, the big storm.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we could talk to your wife, Mr. Salazar.
Well, Roberta's taking a little nap right now. She got in late, all the excitement. Do we have to wake her up?
Well, no, sir, not right away. I just wonder if we could see the baby.
Well, the baby's sleeping, too. Roberta said not to go in, but... Well, if you're real quiet...
Yes, sir, we'll be.
Okay, he's right back. Over here. Let me pull the blanket down. There he is. Big fella, huh?
He's blonde.
Huh?
What do you think, Jim?
I think he's got a twin. 5 p.m., Harlan Stahl from Leighton Fingerprints arrived at the Salazar home. The footprint of the missing child taken at the time of birth was compared with the print from the child the Salazars had. The prints were identical. The missing baby had been found. 5:20 p.m., Ben and I talked with Mrs. Salazar in the kitchen of her home. The christening party went on.
I don't think I understand what this is all about, officer. What has my baby got to do with all this?
You know as well as we do, Miss Salazar. That baby in there, it doesn't belong to you. It's not yours.
What do you mean it's not mine? Of course it's my baby. My husband's and mine. I just brought him from Phoenix last night. That's where the baby was born. What are you trying to do to me?
That baby isn't yours, Mrs. Salazar. Now, you know that. It was taken from the hospital. How about the truth?
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you're talking about. It's my baby. He was baptized today. Juan Tomas Salazar. It's my baby.
This is a pretty serious matter, ma'am. The baby's footprint has been checked out. The child belongs to a Mrs. Stryker. We want to know how you happen to have him.
Because he's my baby. That's why I have him. You don't know what a mistake you're making. He's my baby. I brought him from Phoenix last night. You can ask my husband. He'll tell you.
A woman checked in at the Bluebird Hotel on 11th Street about midnight last night, Mrs. Salazar. She had a young baby with her. You fit her description.
I didn't go to a hotel last night. The plane landed here from Phoenix. I came right home.
The hotel clerk remembers you. He can identify you. So can the druggist when you bought the supplies from.
I bought nothing. The plane landed. I came home. It's my baby. It's my baby.
We found the baby's blanket in the hotel room you rented. We have your description from at least 3 people, even the color of the coat you wore last night.
You can't take him away. He belongs to me. Me and Frank, you can't take him away, please. You can't.
Miss Salazar, why don't you put yourself in the place of the real mother of that baby? How do you think she feels about her baby being taken away? How about it, Miss Salazar?
Have a drink, officer, please? For the party? Have a drink, I'll tell you.
Tell us what, ma'am?
I'm tired. Let me sit down.
Yeah.
Just for a few minutes. I tell you how it happened. I know you understand.
Yes, ma'am.
It'll be 11 years next month that Frank and I were married. I don't have to tell you we want a baby. Frank always wanted a baby. But no more than I did. It's what we live for. A baby of our own.
Yes, ma'am.
Boy or girl, we didn't care. But we didn't have one. For 11 years, we didn't have one. Then last April, that's when the doctor told me. He said I was going to have a baby.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Well, a month before the baby was born, we thought it would be better if I went to my friend's place in Phoenix, Arizona. For the winter, you know, it would be warmer there. And Frank thought it would be nicer for me and the baby.
Your husband was still in Los Angeles?
Yes, he tried to come to Phoenix, but he had to work, so I had my baby alone. It was a boy. My friend was with me. She'll tell you it was a boy.
Yes, ma'am.
I kept calling for him to bring my baby. It was a long time I kept calling. Then they finally came. And the doctor, too. And he's the one that told me.
Yes, ma'am.
He looked just like his father. I know that. But they told me he was dead. I don't remember much after that, Sergeant. I got out of the hospital and I took the plane and I came back here.
Mm-hmm.
It was dark and it was raining. But I walked around. I walked up and down the streets thinking, what could I tell Frank? Baby was dead, that's all I could tell him. Then I walked past the hospital.
That was Mercy Hospital, huh?
Yes. And it was raining. And I could see all those babies inside, warm and in their cribs. And I wanted just one of them. Just one for Frank and me. So I went in the side door and I found the nursery. And when the nurse was gone, I took him and left. My baby. I went to the hotel to keep him out of the rain. And when it cleared a little, I took him home. I took him home to Frank. I took my baby home. That's why you want my baby, isn't it? Because I took him? Because my baby died and I took him?
Everything will be all right, Miss Salazar. I think we can straighten it out.
No better? You talked to the officers?
Frank, what do you want me to say?
It'll be all right, officers. Won't everything be all right?
Yes, sir. I think we can work it out.
What could I tell you, Frank? What was there to say to you?
It's all right, honey. It's all right. I go out and tell the people now.
And what can you say? What can you tell them?
The party's over. It's just a mistake.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
In a moment, the results of the trial. Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Last week, I asked you to write me if your cigarette dealer was out of Fatima's. Well, you did, and we've done something about it. Now, if any more of you find a dealer fresh out of Fatima's, send me his name and address. We'll take care of that, too. Write me, Jack Webb, Post Office Box 951, Hollywood 28. And, Mr. Dealer, don't wait another day. Step up your Fatima order for Thanksgiving and the coming holidays. Get in on the increasing demand for Fatima, the quality long cigarette.
Roberta Salazar was examined by 6 psychiatrists and was ordered to be placed in a state mental institution for treatment. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases, portions transcribed from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Coming up, We the People, then Screen Directors Playhouse on NBC.